Oh, let's click live.
I said a tick
Right
tock,
now.
a ticky,
Oh,
a tick, a tick, a tick, tick tock. You don't stop.
yes.
Hey, what's up?
What
You
do you
heard
mean,
about?
what's up?
I'm talking to you. What's up, man?
Oh, yeah. Good, good. How are you?
Hey, have you heard of this Bill Maher guy?
Yeah, what a
What's wrong with you?
yeah, no, I always liked something about the guy. Because he was always throughout the years. I remember when I was just getting into this online criticism of Islam sphere and even the whole atheist square sphere. He
Wait,
has
wait, wait, wait.
always
Those are
been
those are two different shapes. Which one? Pick one. Sphere or
both,
square? Okay. All right.
both, both.
Okay. All right. Good.
Uh, he was from the very beginning, even years ago, despite all of the criticism, despite all of the liberal progressive, oh, let's be careful about Islam. Let's be careful. Let's not offend anybody. He was always like, hey, I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah.
It's garbage. It's terrible, and I'm going to talk about it. And he hasn't changed in that way, and I'm so happy to
hmm
see that.
Yeah, and that's cool because that goes back. I mean, it was all the way. It was back in the '90s. I didn't watch it, but he had his show Politically Incorrect,
Uh huh.
and he would just cover all the stuff that is actually politically incorrect. So, yeah, he's always been ready to share controversial views and go against the grain. It's got to be a rough spot because I mean, liberals have always been his main target audience, and going against this, which he's always pointed out, like how insane is it that we defend this? Like how are we nuts? Like what is that? Um, so yeah, he's always been willing to point that out. But it's weird because sometimes I'll listen to him and I'll think this guy's a freaking dope. He'll be talking about something. It'll be like the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Get him talking. I mean, like he sounds like a Jesus myther. Like the entire thing is all just made up. Sometimes, which I mean, and he'll go with like the pagan myth theory that that the early Christians are like, ooh, let's copy Mithras and we'll copy all these pagan gods, which no one holds anymore. That's like from the position from like the 70s.
Yeah.
But he'll still cling to that sort of thing and be talking to people who don't know any better. And so he just rolls with it and so on. But it's weird because when it comes to Islam, he's like the most commonsensical person out there. And it's just, and I've seen him over and over and over again when people try to whitewash the situation or say, but everyone has their radicals, not like this, guys. And he just breaks it
Yeah.
down and so on. So, and he always sounds like I've seen him on other people's news programs when they're interviewing him on this stuff. And he goes into like he's the teacher and they're the student mode, and they don't, and it's just amazing because they don't know how to defend any of the little things they're trained to say, and he just ends up ripping them apart.
He also
Anyway,
does this thing which I love very much. Like even among a lot of these, atheist people, you get this thing a lot. Like when Islam is criticized, they will say, and yeah, also other religions and all religions and this and that. And he specifically refuses to do that, and he also calls it out. Like there were several occasions where when he said something about Islam and Muslim beliefs, and then. A guest or a host when he was somewhere else said, okay, but isn't that true for all religions? And he's like, no, it's not. It's not.
mhm.
This is about Islam. It's only Islam that is like this. It's only Islam that is violent in such a way, and so on. So he I don't know. I just love that despite a lot of hate and criticism that he got from the left for that stance, so many times they were like, why is he still around? Why don't we cancel him? He's Islamophobic and all of that. He's like, I don't care about you guys.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's a pretty cool guy. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, the plan for this show is we're going to go through recent his recent little monologue from Real Time with Bill Maher. I actually want to like move on to a bunch of other topics other than because we've been covering the Israeli Hamas conflict for quite some time, but his monologue was so awesome that we definitely have to go through this.
Yeah.
And I was thinking right before the show, I was thinking, so this is HBO, and they are very, very strict about flagging stuff. And then I was about to go on. AP said, "Hey, you might want to pause it even more than usual because it's because of the flagging and so on. Because HBO will actually take down your video while you're live."
Yeah.
And so on, if you play too much of it. So we'll probably like pause it after each of his points or jokes or something like that.
Yeah. Oh,
And so,
what's also important is going through this video. The video is not just about Israel Palestine. He also addresses directly Islam and Islamic expansion compared to Christianity, for example. So this brings us back to a very important topic.
yeah, he makes a lot of good points, and his for this clip, he kind of reminds me of like Douglas Murray, in that you know, they speak differently, they're using a different style and so on, but Douglas Murray will speak for 5 minutes, and I will just be thinking, wow, that is like the best points you could have emphasized in those 5 minutes. He somehow zeroes in on like the absolute essentials, and that's what Bill Maher did. He well, I mean, keep in mind it's his writers too, so I don't know to what extent he's actually involved in this, or he's just got some awesome writers for that stuff. Because as you pointed out, we do see him where he's on someone else's show. It's not scripted, and he's still pretty sharp on some of the stuff. So, but yeah, we're gonna check that. We're gonna go through that, and if we've got time, we might revisit the famous Sam Harris, Ben Affleck moment on Real Time from several years ago. It was funny. I was watching, I think it was Joe Rogan, and he was saying he thinks that Ben Affleck was roided up at the moment, and that's why he was like so enraged. He thinks he was juiced up because he was getting ready for Batman. Really? He had to pack on a ton of muscle for Batman, and Rogan's like, come on, all these guys are take steroids and stuff like that when they have to beef up for a movie. So he's probably just like in a roid rage as far as why he looked like he was about to explode.
That actually makes sense.
Yeah, it does. That's what I mean. I don't know. I don't know. I would normally give someone the benefit of the doubt, but he is a little past his prime, and he did pack on a ton of muscle. So
it's gross. It's racist.
It's gross. It's racist. You're hurting. So you're saying that every single Muslim who's ever no, we're not saying. So you're saying you just want to kill everyone. It's hilarious. And he actually, because I had to pull up the clip. He actually does the same thing we just saw from who's that guy we just watched on your channel? What's that guy?
Dilly.
Yeah, he did that. You remember, as soon as Pierce starts talking, as soon as he's like, "Hey, you know, Sharia's oppressive." "Oh, are you an expert in Sharia? Tell us what your qualifications are in Sharia." Ben Affleck does the same thing as soon as Sam Harris says anything about Islam. "Oh, okay, so you're the expert who's here to educate. What are your credentials?" He starts doing the exact same thing. And I find that amazing because for decades now, any random politician, any random journalist can explain Islam for it. It says if anyone kills a man, it's as if he's killed all mankind. You see, this is how we know that it's peaceful. And those guys who are blowing stuff up aren't even Muslim. They're not. Like, every politician and every journalist is completely qualified to make pronouncements on who is and who is not a true follower of Muhammad. And the moment you criticize it, it's, well, hey, wait a minute, are you the Grand Mufti of Islam to be talking about it? Did you go to Al-Azhar? Because if you don't, then you're not allowed to speak on it. You bunch of cowards, man. Oh, we did have, speaking of Joe Rogan, which leads into Ultimate Fighting.
Yeah.
Tell us what happened with Hijab, because you sent me the message where, just break down the situation for us that Hijab I didn't see what Hijab said, but from this guy's response, I'm guessing Hijab said, "Hey, I challenged the IDF to a fight," or something like this.
Yeah, I don't even entirely know the background of it, but I kind of caught it halfway through because it was somebody brought it to my attention, and then I only saw it. But apparently, because there was a video where somebody at the IDF wrote a bunch of pro-Hamas names like Mohammed Hijab and others on on a bomb or a shell. He made a reaction to it, and he was like, "I challenged the IDF to send their best fighter so that we can have an in-person fight here in the UK," or something dumb like that. And you have 12 hours to respond. Something really stupid, like typical of Mohammed Hijab.
Mm-hmm.
And then this professional fighter from Israel, what's his name, Haim something,
Ghazali.
he responded and he said, "Hey, I'm gonna fight you. Okay, I'll take it." And Mohammed Hijab said, "When can you come to the UK?" And he said, "Okay, I'm arranging it right now with my manager." So now we're gonna see what's happening.
Yeah, so Haim Ghazali, apologize if we're mispronouncing the name, but I'm looking. He is a 3rd-degree black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu under Renzo Gracie, so the Gracie family, and a bare-knuckles brawler. Hijab's only advantages are that the guy's 50 years old and that hijab outweighs him by probably over 100 pounds. The guy's in the 185-pound weight class. Although he might normally be heavier than that. That might be his fight weight. So he wouldn't have to cut any weight if he's going against a giant. But yeah, this guy would absolutely destroy hijab. So and I mean, any professional fighter will. Again, we've mentioned before, there was like a 120-year-old guy at some protest or something who clocked hijab, and hijab looked like hijab had to be like almost carried out of there by people when he's just got his jaw tagged. So he's got a glass jaw. And hijab, I'm sure, knows that by now. So it's going to be interesting to see what hijab does to back out of this, because there is no way he's actually going to fight a professional fighter, even though he was challenging the IDF and this guy was in the IDF. So this guy meets the requirements and hijab is going to back down. It's just like, what's he going to do? I would guess, because he doesn't want to say, "No, I'm scared." He doesn't want to say that. So he'll probably just keep making more and more conditions for the fight until the guy just says, "No, I'm sick with this." Like,
I know what he's going to do. I know what he's going to do. He's going to say, "I have back pain. I've just been prescribed certain medication for severe back pain, and here is the proof. Therefore, for now, I can't do it, but in the future, I will get back." He'll probably do that because in the past, when he did those crazy tweets, he eventually blamed it on having severe medication for back pain, which made him say very strange things.
Yeah, because back in the day when he was Sam Shamoon challenged him to a debate, and then Hijab's like, "Well, we have to fight. We have to agree to have a fight first." And Sam's like, "Okay." And then Hijab doesn't do it, right? So it's clear that he issues these fight challenges because he doesn't actually want to fight, and he thinks people aren't going to want to have a match with him because he's a giant. And when he gets his bluff called, I don't know, I've just seen this a million times. Seen this in prison. Guys go in and run their mouths, so as soon as someone steps to them, then they back down. But yeah, it's pretty weak, pretty pathetic. But it's gonna be fun to see. Yeah, see if he will. It's gonna be fun. Now he kind of can't do his back pain thing now because you've already called him out for it. So he's going to be stuck. He's probably going to hear about this later and be like, oh, darn, how am I going to get out of it now? That was going to be my excuse. Yeah, so I think he'll go the other route and try to make as many ridiculous conditions as possible until the guy just backs out. In which case, someone should probably contact him and let him know, hey, hijab is going to wriggle out of this by doing something. So just keep going at him saying, hey, I agree. So yeah, it's going to be funny.
Inshallah.
Right. We'll do a couple of super chats here and then we'll jump into our video. If the Quran is eternal, then how does the Bible being corrupted solve anything? Wouldn't Allah still be telling Christians to trust the Bible? Yeah. And as far as the problem with the Quran affirming the Bible is, at the very least, the Quran is affirming the inspiration. Everyone knows that. It's preserved at least until the time of Muhammad because it's still authoritative for Christians in the 7th century. So there have been Muslims who try to wriggle out of it, who actually read the passages and realize, no, the Quran is affirming the Bible in the 7th century. and therefore some have tried to claim so the Bible must have been corrupted after that, and it doesn't work like that. You've got copies of Old and New Testament from long before the 7th century, so it doesn't work, and that's the point of the problem. It's just incoherent. The Quran affirms scriptures that completely contradict the Quran, and Islam self-destructs like that. Chloe here says, Dizzle and Woody's in the house. AP and agnostics bring the mouse. Here we are at home with truth and love. Let's stand together, sis and bruv.
Nice. Solid. Not too bad. Yeah.
Let's see. AP D. Wood is delaying his morality debate response video because he knows atheism is the truth. Actually, AP's the one delaying that now. I delayed it forever, and then I said I'm ready to go, and AP said, no, I'm scared now.
I'm scared.
D. Wood and AP, to what countries do you want to travel?
Only Israel. Just kidding. Every country in the world except the Muslim world.
Yeah, I really want to go and hang out in Saudi Arabia and and in Pakistan. Ooh, Afghanistan. Ooh.
We should go to Afghanistan.
Yeah, I like the countries that have like a biblical relevance. So I've been to Israel, but going to Israel again next year. But also the places like where the Apostle Paul went and stuff like that. And so stuff like that, but then like, I don't know, places with castles.
Castles?
So Germany has cool castles. I went to Neuschwanstein a long time ago.
Yeah. Just wanted to say that we should go to
crap hole.
You need to go to Germany or to the rest of Europe if you want to see castles.
Yeah. So I've been to Germany. Wouldn't mind going back. But yeah, Scotland, place like that. Some of the ones I haven't seen.
Yeah, that's also good.
All right. Chloe here says, Maher Bill went up the hill. He saw a jihadi and he said, let's party. They pulled a gun. Bill said, no fun. He pushed them around and on the ground. Jihadi said, why you utter? Why did you stutter? And Roddy Piper. I like Roddy Piper. I slam Islam.
That's nice.
I'll Puff Daddy. D. Wood, how realistic was the TV show Oz? Not realistic at all. That was a prison show. Was not very dumb. Yeah, there's like 5 people get murdered every show. Like, no.
Well, I thought that happens all the time in prison.
No. So you have see I was East Coast. East Coast is totally different from what a lot of people see on like if the farther you go west, the more racial, the more everything has to break up into racial gangs and so on. Whereas East Coast, you will have gangs, but they're like gangs. It's not like race-based gangs and so on. There you go out, and if you're white, you have to join the Aryan Brotherhood or the Woods or something like that. And if you're black, you have your gang, and if you're Latino, you join this gang and so on. And Oz, no, it's but. When you get out there, you just don't have killings every day because people get their own sort of organizations to prevent that. You will have killings and so on. It's just not like every single day it's happening. AP, I love your Southern drawl. What's your favorite accent, AP?
What's my favorite accent? My favorite accent. I really like some of those British accents, although I can't do them very well.
Oh, you mean the smart British accent?
Yeah, the smart British accents, and
the Richard Dawkins or the Douglas Murray type.
Douglas Murray, yeah.
Not this one there, Governor. Not that one.
Hey, what are you talking about, mate?
I've gone and bloody wet myself. Or the dumb Islamic version. Yo, because I was going down to the store, right? It's weird that, you can have one British accent and it'll make you sound like the smartest person in the world, and you have a different one and you sound like a total idiot.
Yeah, it's true. That is true.
D. Wood has a nice clean stream. Christian. AP gets his stream age restricted. Atheist. Draw your own conclusions. Yep, it is sad that AP's live streams have become so vile that they have to be age restricted.
Yeah, unfortunately.
From JT, Oh gosh, we still have a bunch more super chats here. All right, let's go ahead and start the video, and then we'll get back to some super chats. All right. Again, guys, if you're just tuning in, we are going to have to pause this. We already paused a lot. If people wonder why we pause so much, it's why don't you just play the whole thing? Because you get a copyright strike. That's why you can't just. And that's why I usually put the videos like I do this. I'll usually put a video in the description box for people who want to just watch the entire thing uninterrupted. So you actually have to. And if you're watching us, it's probably because
you're a gangster.
You want to see our thoughts on something. So we normally pause quite a bit. We're going to have to make sure we don't play. Basically, if I played this for a minute, if I played this clip for a minute straight with no interruption, the entire live stream might get taken down, because that's how stupid HBO rolls. All right, let's go ahead and check out our good friend Bill Maher.
And finally, new rule. I know it's supposed to be that magical time of year, but maybe what we all really need right now is a good dose of realism. I see a lot of nativity scenes.
You see what he did there? Realism. His show is called Real Time. Get it?
Oh, yeah. Nice.
I'm out, as you always do before Christmas, and I can't help thinking about where that manger really is. It's in the West Bank, on Palestinian lands controlled by the Palestinian Authority. In 1950, the little town of Bethlehem was 86% Christian. Now it's overwhelmingly Muslim.
I was waiting for him to make fun of Christians right here. When I saw that, I was waiting for him to make fun of Christians. Isn't that interesting? I was like, he's about to make fun of Christians. Nope, wrong. He's not doing that at all. Watch.
And that's my point tonight. Things change. To 2.3 billion Christians, there can be no more sacred site than where their Savior was born. But they don't have it anymore. And yet no Crusader army has geared up to take it back. Things change.
Wow. Didn't expect that, right? You usually don't expect that when you when you open a Bill Maher video.
Yeah, I mean, especially it's Bill Maher talking about Christmas. You just know he's going to toss in some pagan myth theory or something like that into it. And so, yeah, the fact that he's just pointing out, hey, guys, you don't see Christians running around going on massacre sprees to get back Bethlehem. And it's interesting because not only is it a holy site for Christians, he's pointing out Christians had that. Christians had that very recently. Christians controlled that in the 20th century. So you're talking the same time that Palestinians are saying that they had their territory and so on. Okay, great. Well, Bethlehem was Christian. It's not anymore. Yeah. It's not anymore. And yet, for some reason, you don't see Christians like around the world. I mean, notice you don't see protests, anything.
But if you ask Daniel Kikic or something, they will say it's because Christians don't follow their religion properly.
Yes,
otherwise they would be violent.
They should be massacring everybody. What a dope. So yeah. Anyway, I seriously thought he was about to just make fun, like at least a throwaway joke or something like that about Christians, and didn't do that. Interesting stuff. But yeah, so he's about to do a series of these on people getting their minds around the idea that, hey, the world has changed. We don't control that anymore. That's life. Sorry. Doesn't work. What are we going to do? We going to start a war over it? All right.
Yes.
Countries, boundaries, empires. Palestine was under the Ottoman Empire for 400 years, but today an Ottoman is something you put under your feet.
Changes. That was actually funny because I didn't think of that. Like, you ask a person today, hey, Ottoman Empire, they have no clue what anything is. If they might know an Ottoman as a piece of furniture, that's it. Yeah. And yet that was an empire. That was a world empire a century ago.
It was a big empire.
I see that we had the golden age of the Ottoman Empire. Now we have nothing. That's when the caliphate fell, ladies and gentlemen.
It was my empire.
When Muslim nations messed with Western nations, which were way more powerful by that time.
Yes.
Good one, Bill.
The city of Byzantium became the city of Constantinople, became Istanbul. Not everybody liked it, but you can't keep arguing the call forever. The Irish had the entire island to themselves, but the British were starting an empire, and, well, the Irish lost their tip.
Yeah.
So he starts with Bethlehem and Christians. Christians controlled that very recently. They had a majority there very recently, and it's a holy site. You don't see Christians starting bloodbaths. Constantinople conquered by Muslims. Even very recently. I mean, what was this, like 4 years ago when your hero Erdogan said he's changing it from a museum back to a mosque?
Yeah, that was several years ago.
Yeah, so he did that. You don't see any bloodbath. How dare you? We'll slaughter you. We're going to blow you up. You don't see it. And now he's talking about the Irish in England that they fought for a while. They fought for a while. Were violent for a while. And watch.
It
wasn't that funny.
Yeah, it wasn't that funny. Funny. Hey, Chloe gifted 50 Apologetics Roadshow
I just
memberships.
saw that. You see that? Like on my channel, she like gifts maybe 1 or 2, and then on your channel she gifts 50 because.
Well, she understands my channel's way better. Actually, I was going to do the 50 yesterday on your channel, but I was like, no, AP did 20. I can't do 50. It's like I'm trying to outdo him. So I'll just match what he did.
Nice.
So that's cool.
Nice.
All right, where are we? Ireland. And people laughing way too much because it wasn't that funny. He said lost the tip of Ireland.
each other up over it for 30 years.
That would have been... He should have done a circumcision joke there. Right?
Yeah.
with Ireland. Wait, is that the joke when he says losing the tip? I don't know.
I think it sounds like it. Oh.
They blew each other up over it for 30 years, but eventually everybody comes to an accommodation.
Mm-hmm. Irish voters, North and South, give resounding yes to peace. So fought for a while, and then they don't want to fight anymore.
Except the Palestinians.
Yeah, let's back that up right there. He points out
because of that song "Zombie." That's why they made peace.
He says everyone fights for a while and doesn't want to continue it forever, except. There we go.
They blew each other up over it for 30 years, but eventually everybody comes to an accommodation, except the Palestinians.
Woo.
Except the
That
Palestinians.
Sounds harsh. That sounds pretty harsh.
The reason I like this clip is because that's the takeaway, guys. You can believe entirely and completely that Israel was wrong, that the Jews were wrong back in the 20th century. You can believe that Jews took the land. They just went in there and strong-armed it. You don't have to believe that there were Jews who were still living there, who had always been living there. You don't have to believe that there were Jews who went and bought property there and lived there because they bought land. You don't have to believe that it was the British mandate of Palestine, that it was the British controlled it because they conquered the Ottoman Empire, and that there weren't these Palestinian people who've been living there all along and who are being. You don't have to believe. You could believe the standard myth, and you could say, all right, that was a long time ago. There's nothing we can do about it now, and therefore we need to try to find peace.
Yeah,
you could do that, and you could be working towards a two-state solution. You could be doing all of that, and be completely wrong about everything, and still have peace as a goal. But with this one group and this one area, no, that's never on the table. It's just you have to fight until you completely wipe out one side. And the people that you want to wipe out are just massively more powerful than you. So you can't actually do it. And so what you're actually calling for is endless terrorism.
Yes.
And endless retaliation from them after you do your terrorist attack.
Precisely.
And endless, hey, we built some buildings and now they got bombed. Oh, let's build some buildings again. Oh, they've gotten bombed. You just want to keep that up forever because you don't want to realize we cannot beat these guys.
Precisely.
Was it unjust that even a single Arab family was forced to move upon the founding of the Jewish state? Yes, but it's also not rare, happening all through history, all over the world, and mostly what people do is make the best of it. After World War II, 12 million ethnic Germans got shoved out of Russia and Poland and Czechoslovakia because being German had become kind of unpopular.
Yeah.
Why are you laughing at German jokes, man?
It's a nice way to put it.
It's weird. Yeah, I mean, you've lived in Germany and Turkey,
Yeah.
and you constantly make fun of Germany and Turkey. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, I am. It is.
Show some gratitude.
I will. I shall. The good thing about this clip is, as you pretty much just mentioned, but to emphasize that, the good thing about this clip is that he doesn't sit down there and try to explain why this is, this side's fault or that side's fault, or why, why it was not unjust, why it was deserved, and all of that. He doesn't spend time on any of this in this clip. All he says is, "Hey, something happened a long time ago. Get over it. You will not get anywhere by continuing to fight. It is injustice happens. If it's injustice, let's say it's injustice, it happens everywhere. You can't just be stuck on that and it'll prolong the suffering of everybody."
Yeah, it's it's a weird situation. Just imagine. I mean, pretty much anywhere you go in the world, there were some people there before you, and so what do? Are they endlessly going to try to kill you, or are you going to say, okay, the world has changed? The world has changed, ladies and gentlemen. We need to live with it. So, point is, if you have an accurate understanding of what happened with Israel, you would say, okay, I hope the Palestinians stop this stuff. Even if you have a completely inaccurate picture of what happened, you should still be saying, hey, we need to move forward and get past this constant fighting.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. And it will all be settled.
Yeah, inshallah.
When Muhammad Hijab fights Haim Ghazali.
Inshallah.
UFC never.
A million Greeks were shoved out of Turkey in 1923, a million Ghanaians out of Nigeria in 1983, almost a million French out of Algeria in 1962. Nearly a million Syrian refugees moved to Germany 8 years ago. Was that a perfect fit?
According to Germans, yeah. It's funny. As soon as he started going through these, I was like, he's going to talk about the Jews getting kicked out. Going to talk about Jews getting kicked out of countries. Going to talk about it.
No one knows more about being pushed off land than the Jews, including being almost wholly kicked out of every Arab country they once lived in.
Yes, thank you.
Perfect. That should be.
Thank you.
Guys, if you want to get one of these lists of Jews who are kicked out of Muslim countries, just kicked off their land, fleeing for their lives, that's one of the most important things you can ever share because if people are saying, hey, the Palestinians had land in what is now Israel, just, back in the 1940s, they had this, and therefore they have a right to get that back. Okay. Then give the Jews back their land in Algeria, Egypt, Iraq, Lebanon, Libya, Morocco, Syria, and so on. Give it back. Give it back. No one's going to do it.
Give it
Why?
back right now.
So why? Why don't Muslims have to give back land when they kick Jews off land, but Jews supposedly have to just walk out of Israel and hand it over to Hamas? Please explain that. We don't get it. We don't understand that. We don't think you're being consistent at all.
Yeah, it's so good to see that he actually brought this up on this mainstream platform here, because this is something that so rarely comes up. It's something that is mentioned by certain people on social media, but it's so rarely addressed on mainstream platforms. It's so good that he did this. And here's the thing: like when it comes to the expulsion or displacement of Jews from the Arab countries, there is some nuance to that, and I want to be fair with that. And some people will say, well, it wasn't completely being kicked out. That's correct. The Zionists in Israel, they actually preferred Jews from around the world coming in to Israel. And they specifically mentioned among their projects in the beginnings that they must take into consideration the capacity that their state can offer, because a lot of the Mizrahi Jews, the Eastern Jews in the Arab world, may or will come to Israel and will make this their new home. But that didn't happen for no reason. They didn't just think, oh, those Jews in those countries, they live there very, very well. But you know what? Just to mess with them, let's have them all come here and leave those countries. No, they a lot of them chose to move out, to flee. A lot of them were encouraged to go to Israel. A lot of them were directly deported and kicked out. And that because the Jews experienced a lot of oppression, a lot of pogroms, a lot of harassment, blood libels, and this and that over the centuries, but especially in the 20th century, all of this intensified even more. And in the Arab world, Jews around the world, around the Arab world, were basically mistreated as a result of what is happening in the whole, Palestine region, which only proves the point that Jews need a safe home for themselves. Because whenever there is something happening that involves Jews, or even if there's nothing happening, they will always crack down on their own Jewish population and threaten them. And that is how they all lost their Jewish populations.
See what other countries are on this list. Tunisia, Yemen.
Ethnic cleansing happened both ways. In fact,
Oh, wait. I think he says, yes, kids on TikTok. Let's see.
lived in. Yes, TikTok fans, ethnic cleansing happened both ways.
That's funny that he's like, he's aware of what's going on TikTok and all the, hey, maybe Bin Laden was right. He's got a good idea. Oh, maybe Hitler was smarter than we thought he was. Yeah, I'm on TikTok and I'm a moron.
These are lunatics, man.
Hey, for all the millions of new channel members and so on, should be a new video up for early access tomorrow. So check your stuff tomorrow.
Did you just say millions of new channel members?
Yeah, millions of new channel members.
Oh, okay.
If you have a problem with exaggeration, then you have a problem with saying that your show is the most watched show in the entire universe.
But it's accurate, though. So.
In Fiddler on the Roof, the family is always moving to stay one step ahead of the Cossacks, but they deal with it. When they're leaving Anatevka, they say, hey, it wasn't so great anyway.
What are you laughing at? Do you know what Fiddler on the Roof is?
Yes, I do.
I don't. I don't know what that is.
You don't know that? You don't know Fiddler on the Roof?
No.
It's a movie. You should watch it. It's very good.
Really? Okay.
Yes, it's very good.
Come on. Like other countries don't have roofs you could fiddle on.
It sucks. Now I actually want to look up the plot on Wikipedia so I get the joke.
Now, that's not how they really felt, but they were coping. They coped, because sometimes that's all you can do. History is brutal, and humans are not good people. History.
You just said humans are not good people.
I know that sounds very... Humans are not good people.
Humans suck. We're pure evil.
They coped, because sometimes that's all you can do. History is brutal, and humans are not good people.
He's right. Humans suck.
Yeah.
And notice the...
How dare you say humans suck? I'm a human.
Notice the completely simple reasoning there. The world is an imperfect place. Humans suck and do horrible things. You have to try and get along in the world and not just try to destroy it because you don't get your way all the time, because you're not going to get your way all the time. You have to live with it. You have to live with the fact that some stuff happens that you're not going to agree with. And you don't have a bloodbath every time something doesn't go your way.
Humans are amazing, man. Fantastic.
Very sad and full of wrongs, but you can't make them unhappen because a paraglider isn't a time machine. People get moved and, yes, colonized. Nobody was a bigger colonizer than the Muslim army that swept...
Ouch! Love this guy, man. This is what I mean. This is what I mean. Apart from the Fiddler on the Roof joke, which there's a point to it, but you could have replaced that with some other joke making the same point. He's just like crushing every single, like if he were to ask us, hey, I've got 8 minutes or 9 minutes or something like that to hit every point I really, really, really need to hit. What are the most important things? He's nailing them.
Yeah.
Isn't a time machine. People get moved and, yes, colonized. Nobody was a bigger colonizer than the Muslim army that swept out of the Arabian desert and took over much of the world in a single century. And they didn't do it by asking.
They didn't do it by asking?
This is so good. I saw my wife watching it. Like this was the other day. We were done with our live stream, and then I sat down and she was watching it, and I was like, "Is that Bill Maher?" She said, "Yeah." And then I'm listening while doing something else, and I hear him mention these things, and I thought, "Yes, this is exactly the Bill Maher that I know."
This is perfect. This is perfect. This is as close to a perfect monologue on this topic as I think you could have. I can't imagine. I can't even think of like how to improve it. Like any section of what he's saying, he's just crushing it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason Saudi Arabia's flag is a sword. Kosovo was the cradle of Christian Serbia. Then it became Muslim. They fought a war about it in the 90s, but stopped. They didn't keep it going for 75 years.
I mean, notice again, if people say they're we're not anti-Semitic, we're anti-Zionist. And then in their minds, it'll make sense. They'll be able to rationalize it in their minds. Oh, I'm just against this horrible injustice that has occurred. You know, if you were actually, if you didn't just have a problem with Jews, then if you really thought, hey, there was this, this injustice many decades ago, and therefore you just have to keep fighting and slaughtering to right that, you would be saying that about all these places. You'd be saying that about all these places, and you would be saying that Jews should be out, that the Israeli army should be using its firepower to go back and seize land in Muslim countries. It should be doing that if you actually believed it, and if you didn't just have a problem with Jews. So the idea that no, we just have a problem with this injustice because we're against injustice. Okay, then you should be having a problem with all these other places, and you should be saying that Christians should be slaughtering Muslims right there, instead of eventually coming to terms to avoid the bloodbath. But you don't. There's this one spot in the entire world, and it just happened because it involves Jews, that you have to have an endless bloodbath.
Plus, it's also it's complete nonsense when they argue that this is not about Islam. Throughout the Muslim world, you will always hear them say to each other, "We are Muslims. We have to stand up for each other. This is about Islam. This is about Islam. It's about Islam versus the enemy." They say that all the time. But somehow, when they want to bring it to these international conversations, they want to make it just about, "Oh, this is about humanity. It's about
human rights."
Yeah,
and notice the wonderful United Nations. We're just seeking justice. You guys don't do that anywhere else in the entire planet except when Jews are involved.
Yeah.
All right, a couple super chats real quick. Big Rig, you see, I don't have a point. I just wanted to yell that. You see, I don't have a point. I just wanted to yell that.
That's good.
I'm sure someone will. Sure someone will take me seriously. Chloe here. My friend tried to make FAR4 GPT, but failed due to getting AI to use FAR4. Hate speech against Jews. It breaks the policy. That's funny.
That makes sense.
I'm trying. I think you can get some other AI program that you can modify to FAR4 GPT.
Yeah, there are some alternatives apparently.
That would be funny if you asked it. You could ask it questions like, "Hey, I didn't finish my homework. What do I do?" You got to blame the Jews. You got to blame the Jews. Say the Jews bombed your house.
It's so stupid, man.
Quran Studios presents Brokeback Muhammed. More like broke butt Muhammad. And the leather strapping of the anus in cinemas near AP. Yeah, so Muhammad liked to be kissed all over his milky white flesh by dudes. I'm not making that up. Sunan Abu Dawud. And he had some very strange meetings with a guy named Dihya al-Kalbi.
Beautiful.
And so Dihya would be leaving Muhammad's house, and Muhammad would tell his wives that was the angel Gabriel who was visiting him. And of course, then Muhammad would need all the semen washed off his clothes. Hey, we should be using that. I think Black Angel said something like this, but with hijab. Hey, we should post it. We should be tweeting this. We should say, hey, now that Haim has agreed to fight, we bet Muhammad hijab's response will be as slippery as his prophet's garments after Dihya al-Kalbi visited him. Gross.
We should use that. That's what he would do.
Isn't it crazy that you're reading about Muhammad and you're like reading about the only? I mean, you've got true prophets and false prophets. You got like one guy in all of history who had this problem of constantly being covered in semen, and this is like your supreme.
That was a real problem. It was a real problem. It was a very serious problem. No, it's funny. Like they say when Aisha's age is brought up, sometimes they say it was very important because Aisha, she delivered a lot of the very important hadiths. She delivered lots of very important information about Muhammad, and then the important
semen.
I used to scrub semen off of the Prophet's clothes. Well, great, fantastic. Thank you.
No, I really had to scrape a lot off. I mean, I would scrape it and scratch. And she talks about scratching it with her fingernails and scraping it and washing it. And then she'd say, even after she thought she'd washed it all off, she'd see more. And she's like, stop. And he's going to the mosque. But notice she's actually like scraping it off with her fingernail, scraping the semen off his clothes because he's heading to the mosque.
Yeah.
And he's going out, and I don't know what the customs were back then, but is this guy hugging it out? I would not touch this dude. I would not want to be within 5 feet of this dude.
Yeah.
Even if I'm talking about if I were a Muslim, I wouldn't want to be within 5 feet of a guy who's got semen all over him.
Imagine you are Muhammad back then. So you are Muhammad's companion back then. You are sitting at the mosque waiting for the prayer to start, and Muhammad walks in. As usual, as always, his clothes full of semen. And you're like, oh, this is just getting weird, man.
It's pretty creepy.
Aisha tells him, hey, Ya Rasulullah, you cannot continue doing this. Please let me scrub some of it off. And he's like, yeah, fine, okay, just be quick.
Here, let me pull it off for you so you can scrub it. Well, this guy kisses me all over my old, wrinkly, milky white body.
Man.
Drunk Vax here says, how much does Mossad pay you? Also eat full Quran. AP said he would eat a full Quran for $20,000.
20,000, yeah, 20,000.
Yeah, he said 20,000. I don't know how much that is in shekels for the Mossad agents who are watching. But, I mean, people, you can see how Mossad funnels money to us through Super Chat. So you can actually calculate it up if you want it.
Yeah.
So here Khan said, was funny mustache man inspired by Islam. Love you guys. Take my jizya, please. Oh, I think they're talking about the guy you always rush to defend.
The painter.
The painter. The great. You're my favorite painter.
I wouldn't say he was inspired by it.
No.
He was just he got radicalized really badly during the First World War in the aftermath, where he took it very, very seriously, and it was a giant failure. And I don't know, there's a lot to it. And then in cafes and in gatherings where people would talk about the politics, he was introduced to this whole idea that the Germans have so much potential, so many things that they should be doing, but it's all the Jews. The Jews, they're all preventing it. The Jews are getting in the way. The Jews are even behind the First World War. The Jews are behind the fact that Germans lost the First World War and something like that. And he was just looking for someone to blame. He picked that up. He later did praise Islam specifically several times, but I wouldn't say that he was inspired by it.
Yeah, he got... Yeah, I'd say somewhat influenced, but yeah, ideas seem to be based on mainly on the superiority of his people and the German
Yeah,
people, and
yeah.
the inferiority of the Jewish people and so on. But with that said, he seemed to have a connection with Islam. Hey, they've noticed some similar things there.
It's the best religion. Why did we have Christianity? Why Christianity? That's what he said, basically.
And he did notice that because of the Armenian genocide, he did notice that you can get away with something like that, because people would have thought you can't haul off millions of people in cattle cars and execute them and so on. No, you can. You actually can. You
The
look
Turks
at
did it.
yeah.
The Turks
And so
did
you
it,
got
we
that,
can
and
do
then
it.
he becomes buddies with the. Imagine actually having like transcripts of his discussions with the Grand Mufti of Jerusalem.
We actually have. We
Oh,
actually
yeah?
have some of them. I made a live stream several weeks ago where I read through one of those, which comes directly from German records, where a meeting between the two is documented, and they are discussing. And Hitler says to him specifically, he gives him promises, and he says, "Now listen to me very closely, because I promise these things to you." And he says, "Once we defeat the Soviets, the communists, we will get down from Caucasia, and then we will." Once our path is opened, we will have an open alliance. Meanwhile, you will have prepared all your Arab forces, and then together we will unite, and we will make sure to eliminate the Jewish element within the Arab world and stuff like that. So these are things that he actually said, and they are on German record. But
Yeah,
not
and
just that.
for purposes of consistency, again, ladies and gentlemen, notice that Muhammad, when he wanted to get rid of the Banu Nadir, he simply said he could simply say, "Hey, I had a dream, or I had a vision that these guys are going to try to kill me," and that was enough to get rid of them, to kick them out. So following that, before Israel, the Jews in that area could say, "Wait, we know these guys want to kill us. Why? We've got the Grand Mufti of Jerusalem meeting with Hitler and coming up with plans. We know they want to kill us. We know it. Therefore, we, even according to Islamic principles, have a right to defend ourselves against the threat. We have a right to take precautions to guard against the threat, and to say, you guys need to just get away from us."
Yeah.
Let's see. Chloe here says, Green Prince, he chose the cow. Green Prince, why and how? He doesn't believe Jesus existed. Pray for him. His mind is twisted. Is that from something? Is that like a lullaby or something? Green Prince? You familiar with that?
No. The Green Prince is the name for Mossab Hassan Youssef. That was his code name when he was working for the Shin Bet.
I choose the cow. That guy's nuts, man.
They gave him the code name the Green Prince because he's the son of the Hamas co-founder when they were working with him.
That guy's crazy, man. I chose the cow. Larry says, did you see? Yeah, we talked about this. Did you see the Turkish parliament member collapse and die after threatening Israel with Allah's wrath at the end of his speech?
It's not funny, but it was kind of funny.
Yeah, I mean, like the timing. And yeah, so Larry, I don't think you've seen where we've talked about this before, but AP obviously can't believe in any sort of divine retribution. I believe in the possibility of that sort of thing, but I don't know. I also believe that people can just have heart attacks and so on. So wouldn't know. But what we would agree on is if this happened in reverse, if this were a member of the Israeli government who's saying, and we will crush Hamas and we will never stop until we have crushed Hamas, and they drop dead, that would be used for the next 50 years to show that God is on the side of Hamas.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas. It is Christmas coming up.
It's too soon.
AP's like, no, it's pagan. Rashawn says, I've been watching you guys almost every night. Now I want to join the show. We'll be more happy to join you guys. We'll be more than happy to join. Who are you? Who is this?
Who are you?
Everyone wants to join our show because we have awesome shows. Roshan, what would you contribute to the show? Would it be awesome? All right, let's go. Let's go through
Yeah, let's go.
some more Bill Maher. So we're on Kosovo.
There were deals on the table to share the land called Palestine in 1947, 93, 95, 98, 2000, 2008, and East Jerusalem could have been the capital of a Palestinian state that today might look more like Dubai than Gaza.
Difficult.
He crushed it again, though, by pointing out,
Yeah.
hey, you guys had your chance at a two-state solution over and over and over again. You were offered this over and over and over again. You rejected it over and over and over again, and then you complain that you don't have your own state. Isn't that nuts? By the way, like Jews are like, hey, here you can have this state. No, we don't want it. Look, no, we'll give you a state. No, we don't want it. Look, we'll here it is. Here, take your state. No, we won't want it. We want all of it. Okay, you're not getting all of it, but we'll give you a state. No, we don't want it. And then, oh, why don't we have our own state? Why?
It's so weird that the prime minister Ehud Olmert, in 2008, he made the offer of giving the West Bank, almost the entire West Bank, over to them, while only keeping very small portions, as Israeli settlements as part of Israel, but giving more than 90-something% to the Palestinians, and to have them declare their sovereign state, and for Israel to recognize that state. It was so generous after this entire history. And he said his very clear words to Mahmoud Abbas were something along the lines of, look, agree to this, because there will not be anyone for the next 50 years who will make you such an offer from our side. Take this. But no, they rejected it.
Yeah, and when I was there, an IDF guy actually broke it down to us. Why? He's saying, he's like, in this year, we offered them 97% of what they wanted. This year, we offered them 98% of what they wanted, and so on. And he said, they always, of course, reject it. He said, as far as like and keep in mind, guys, these are for the two-state solution. So these are negotiations trying to get a two-state solution. And a Palestinian group will say, here's all the land we want, and as part of two states. So as a compromise, and not saying that we get all of Israel or something like that. Here's everything we want, and we will make guarantees of peace if you give us this. And Israel would say, we can't give you all of that. We'll give you 97%. There are reasons. And some of it would be, okay, you want that hill, but there's a Jewish village at the bottom of that hill. And you can't have that hill because it would be very easy to just toss bombs literally off the side of the hill and bomb this village anytime you guys get upset. So you can't have the top of that hill. You just can't have that. And so these are the limitations that they're putting on it. But so rejected. Yeah, rejected. But over and over and over again, you could have your state, you could have your state, you could have your state, you reject it, you reject it, you reject it. And then you whine, why don't we have our state? And then you've got all these morons on college campuses running around going, shouting from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, thinking that they're calling for a two-state solution, not realizing they're calling for genocide and calling for Israel to be completely wiped off the map.
Here is Bill Maher is making a good point here and raising something good. Now, the thing is, if you want to go back into the history, you can do the blame game forever. But it will turn out that actually the violence and all of that was started every single time almost from the Arab side, because they didn't like the idea that the Jews are coming there and that they are playing with the thoughts of establishing a proper home for themselves. But let's say it's the other side's fault, and let's say you lost your land. Like that's very far from what actually happened. But let's say that's what happened. It's been so many years. It has been the whole conflict, the first violent conflict between the Arabs and the Zionists in the region started in 1920. It's been more than 100 years. After so much time of you guys not being able to figure it out, of losing again and again and again and again and again, maybe you should come to terms with the fact that yes, things were different back then. They didn't go your way. You wanted all of the land for you, didn't go your way. Maybe you should at some point settle for what you have as a result of your lack of or your failure in diplomacy. But no, you just want to go back to the very beginning and act like, no, we never lost.
Yeah.
We cannot lose. We must go back and get every single thing that we think belonged to us at some point. That's just ridiculously stupid.
It's insane. It's absolutely insane. And that's what Bill Maher was pointing out with all these other examples. Everyone understands that things change, situations change. You may have controlled this at one point, but then you don't control it anymore. Now you're outnumbered. What do you do? And everyone in the world eventually realizes, okay, we have to move on. We have to move on. We can't fight over this forever. Except one group that is also encouraged by millions and millions of other people around the world, not just in their religious group, but also morons on college campuses and so on. No, keep fighting, keep fighting. That's the one place on the planet where you can never have peace at all until you commit genocide, and then you can have peace. Ridiculous.
They're basically encouraging the Palestinian population and the Israeli population there to just continue suffering instead of making peace and trying to figure out something good out for everyone.
Oh man, we've got over 3,000 people watching live. That's crazy.
Just wanted to say that. Yeah, we just cracked the 3,000.
3,000! Imagine when we hit 4 one day. That'd be dope.
Nice. This is the second time that we are over 3,000. So
no, it's the third time.
Third time?
Second time on my channel we've been over.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Arafat was offered 95% of the West Bank and
95%.
said no. The Palestinian people should know your leaders and the useful idiots on college campuses who are their allies are not doing you any favors by keeping alive the river to the sea myth. I mean, where do you think Israel is going? Spoiler alert, nowhere.
And guess what? You could sit here and think, oh, why is he siding with that he started this off by saying we need to be realistic here. Let's be realistic here. That is completely realistic. You could be the most pro-Palestine people in the world and still say he's absolutely correct. Israel's not going anywhere. That's just life. You're not wiping Israel off the map. It's not going to happen. It's just not. Get over it. Yeah. It's just because it's so simple, guys. Okay, you continue fighting, not because you want your own separate state. You could have had that a million times. You keep fighting because you want to completely wipe out this group that is massively more powerful than you can't hope to defeat ever.
Well, that's how it goes.
You can't do it. They're too powerful for you to stop. What do? You live with it then, and you try to do the best that you can. That's very, very simple and commonsensical. We can't wipe them out. Therefore, the best we can do is have our own state. And you could have it. And you could have it. My goodness, they're stupid. Good point. Good point, Bill. Good point.
It's one of the most powerful countries in the world with the $500 billion economy, the world's second largest tech sector after Silicon Valley. And
that's interesting, isn't it? Second, like Israel is second to Silicon Valley as far as the tech sector.
Nuclear weapons. They're here.
And they're nuclear.
They like their bagel with a schmear. Get used to it.
Are you familiar with that? Do you know what he just did there?
Yes, I know it.
So for everyone who's watching from different parts of the world, there's a famous chant when people were calling for like gay marriage rights and so on, that they would say, "We're here, we're queer, live with it," and he switched it to, "They're here, they like their bagel with a schmear."
Yeah.
What's happening to Palestinians today is horrible, and not just in Gaza, in the West Bank too. But wars end with negotiation. And what the media glosses over is it's hard to negotiate when the other side's bargaining position is you all die and disappear.
Yes.
This dude's crushing it, man.
And it's so stupid that this simple point is not being mentioned, and people just act like this is not a thing. It's a reality. The Palestinian side overwhelmingly believes in eventually destroying the other side and getting all of the land. Hamas explicitly said many, many times in their charter and also over the decades, even as recently as 2019 publicly, that they believe all Jews need to be killed. So, how do you negotiate with that?
Yeah. I would say you are under no obligation to negotiate with those if that's the goal of the opposing side, and you are entirely justified in taking precautions to make sure they do not ever have the opportunity to do that to you. Somehow, no, you've got one side that wants to exterminate the other side, and the side that these guys want to exterminate isn't allowed to take any sort of precautions to defend itself from these guys. It's insane. No one applies that rule to anyone else in the world except Jews.
Alhamdulillah.
I mean, the chant from the river to the sea. Yeah, let's look at the map. Here's the river.
He's good.
Here's the sea. Oh, I see. It means you get all of it. Not just the West Bank, which was basically the original UN partition deal you rejected because you wanted all of it and always have, even though it's indisputably also the Jews' ancestral homeland. And so you attacked and lost.
Ouch.
And attacked again and lost. And attacked again and lost. As my friend Dr. Phil says, how's that working for you?
Yeah, so Dr. Phil will say that when someone's got their way of doing things and it just keeps failing and failing and failing. Hey, how's that working for you? You have to wonder, because you can think from an Islamic perspective. You can think, Allah's just testing us. He's testing our resolve. But
they do think.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But does there ever come a point where you just realize, okay, God's just not on our side in this. He's obviously not on our side. It's like, how many, like, guys, supposing this all lasts for 500 years, I don't think it's going to, but suppose this lasted 500 years and so on, and you still had terrorist groups trying to destroy Israel and so on. Yes, Allah's going to help us. And whoever, the Muhammed Hijab is for 500 years from now going, you see, they're trembling, the Jews are trembling. Like, does there ever come a point where you realize we're just delusional about this?
Yeah, probably not.
Probably not. He went with Dr. Phil. That's funny.
Look at what Mexico used to own, all the way up to the top of California. But no Mexican is out there chanting from the Rio Grande to Portland, Oregon.
I mean, it's a good point. I mean, this guy actually went around the world and could give more examples. This one he's given like close to home right here, because he lives in California. He's pointing out, hey, this was all Mexico. This is all Mexico, and it's not anymore. You don't see endless bloodbaths. We have to fight to. I don't know what to do, man. What?
You know what always bugs me about his show though, and shows like these, is the extreme exaggerated laughter that you hear in response to some of the jokes.
I'm like,
it's funny, yeah, but it's not that funny. Okay,
it's not that funny. He's making a brilliant point, but it's not that funny, right?
Yeah.
Still good.
Because
it's funny that's what enrages you. Quit laughing so. Hey, we should do that. We should do that after his next joke. Okay.
chose a different path. They got real and built a country that's the world's 14th biggest economy now, because they knew the United States wasn't going to give back Phoenix any more than Hamas will ever be in Tel Aviv.
See, that's just applause. That's not laughing at his joke. Good point. Good point. Tel Aviv.
Plus, Tel Aviv was also founded by Jews. So,
hey, did you see that thing circulating where a guy was like, "Oh, this was Palestine before the Jews came," and it's a picture of Tel Aviv.
I showed that to you yesterday.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Was that on you? Okay.
Yeah.
Like, how does no one have the concept of fact checking, or like, before I put this out there, let me verify it?
One of the leaders of Hamas says, save yourselves time and imaginary dreams. In a few years, Allah willing, you will have to discuss the situation in the region after Israel.
After Israel.
I'm sorry, who's the one with imaginary dreams?
Yeah. Save yourselves times and imaginary dreams. In a few years, Allah willing, you will have to discuss the situation in the region after Israel. Total insane, idiotic fantasy land.
It's so ridiculously stupid. Like I was a Muslim. I learned and I heard the very same thing again and again from people all around of like, the day will come, inshallah. They just need to be steadfast. The day will come. Yes, it will finally be taken back. Yes, they will own it again one day. And this just keeps going in ridiculous ways. And even when the Palestinian groups are at a point where they are exhausted and they just want to settle for things. Like this is one of the theories and one of the actually substantiated points as well, that during some of the negotiations, especially with Yasser Arafat and even Mahmoud Abbas, that they wanted to accept certain conditions and certain peace agreements, but they couldn't because they were constantly told by the rival factions and also by other powers and people around the world. No, you shouldn't do this. How dare you even negotiate with them? How dare you even try to accept any form of peace which does not include taking all of the land and making it all a Muslim Arab land? How dare you even think of peace? Like the Muslim Arab world, they don't care. They don't care at all about the population there. They don't care at all about the civilians there. For them, they feel sad and they want to express their sadness when Palestinians die, but they just want the Palestinians to go on and continue fighting and continue dying. They don't want them to have peace because they think it's greater than them. We can sit here at home in our warm homes and watch those people in Gaza die, and we can say, why is the world watching? But we must make sure that they continue dying and fighting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking like the level of insane delusion here that this guy thinks up. In a few years, we're actually going to control that. I mean, Bill Maher's given. This would actually be like Mexico saying, in a few years we'll control California. We'll take over all the we'll take over all that land again. It's like you're not. You're not powerful enough. You're not even close to being powerful enough. You live in fantasy land. Hey, I just wanted to post this good point up. Ed Ski 70 says, what is the most haram food for Muslims? Pregnant pig, because it contains pork. Double haram.
Nice.
That's nice. Classic. Actually, drunk pregnant pig would be. Drunk pregnant pig would be the most haram food.
That's good.
Let's see. Panzer the Lake says, if Palestinians have the right of return, then why doesn't everyone who's been conquered by Islam have the right to reclaim their land? Yeah, that's something we pointed out a number of times. I mean, Muhammad conquers Medina, runs out the Jews. He conquers Mecca, forces people to convert. He conquers Arabia, and then they conquer their way west all the way up into Europe. They conquer their way east all the way out to India and China and so on. And somehow, nope, this is, if it involves Jews, then it's a different situation.
It is.
Completely rules. Completely different rules.
Cool.
If you were the president of the United States, how would you deal with Islam? Well, AP is foreign born, so he can't be. But if you were born in the United States, I'm
going to change the rules and I will be president.
Yeah, I mean, if Cenk can do it, then you can. I'd rather have you than Cenk. If AAP, if you were president of the United States, how would you deal with Islam?
Good question. I don't know.
Yeah, I would.
I wouldn't be president to begin with, so it doesn't bother me.
Yeah, my main issue is, I think that politicians and journalists just need to stop covering for Islam and let people criticize it, and I think Islam will crumble of its
Oh,
own
dare you say that? That's
of its own
homophobic.
silliness. But there is a part of me. I'm just going to be honest. There is a part of me. And you can see this when we do things like eating the Quran and so on, where we say, okay, these guys are clearly crossing lines. We don't want to get violent, but we want that we have to make them stop what they're doing here. And we'll do something like eat the Quran or something like that to say, hey, this is not going to go the way you think. Notice we respond without killing and so on in order to stop certain behaviors. So there is a part of me that would do that if I were president of the United States, and I would probably send in special forces to take the black stone from the Kaaba. And then I'd be sitting there posting videos on YouTube. Hey, President of the United States here. Guess who's got your rock? It's actually in pieces, but I'll glue it back together. Guess who's got your rock? And I'll tell you what, you guys go 1 year without a terrorist attack. I'll give you back your rock. But
this is why David Wood cannot become a president. Shouldn't. Please don't.
I'd be like, but every time there's every single terrorist attack, I'm sticking your black stone in this vat of pig intestines for the day. So notice, I'm not doing that on my own. It's your decisions. Your decisions are causing this black stone to be in this vat of pig intestines. I might do stuff like that.
Look what you made me do.
Look what you made me do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Elect me. I was about to say, no, I'm a convicted felon, but there's no rule against not being a convicted felon. You can't be born in a different country, but you can be a convicted felon. Yes. So yes, I can actually run for president. And then fair. I would pardon myself. And then I would no longer be a convicted felon. Take a poll. 1, she was 9 years old. 2, I choose cow. I guess this poll is about like what's the coolest like what's the most badass clip there? She was 9 years old. I choose the cow.
I think she was 9 years old, and she was 9 years old is still the best, I think.
Yeah, and we like that better because, at the end of the day, I think it's hilarious how over the top Mossab Hassan Youssef is, and that's because you've got a guy who's actually raised as a terrorist who then switches sides, but still has a pretty brutal mentality and so on.
Yeah.
And we can say, I have to choose between 1.6 billion and a cow. I choose the cow. So it's it's funny to watch, but at the end of the day, I don't actually agree with him.
Same.
But it's kind of how I feel like when the Dawa guys start running their mouths, and I'm like, guys, I smash my own dad's head in with a hammer. What do you think I will do to your prophet if you keep running your mouth at me? Like, seriously, what do you think? Like.
Yeah.
Let's see. Can't wait for the Dawa wrestling debut match. Oh, it's not going to be. If you're talking about the hijab fight, that's not going to be a wrestling debut match. That's going to be just hijab getting the crap beat out of him and tapping like crazy. I'm tapping. The guy's like, no.
Please stop it. Please stop. Please.
No, because the ref is a friend of mine. He supports Israel. He's not going to call it until your arm is broken.
Yeah, inshallah.
Hey, we've got a Christmas super chat from Snipe there. No comment, but thanks, Snipe. And peace be upon me. Hi, D Wood, AP. I like Kant and Sartre. What about you?
Sartre.
No, I definitely don't like. I mean, I like Kant more. I like the pre-critical Kant. Kant is that's a perfect example of his philosophy reminds me of a conspiracy theory that once you build it, you can defend that. You can defend your conspiracy theory. You can account for things in terms of your conspiracy. But Kant's philosophy is like that. It's like, guy's a genius. He's like mad scientist level genius. And he comes up with his philosophy. It's complete. It's wrong, but it is brilliant. That's the general assessment of philosophers, because almost no one agrees with Kant. But they're like, this is brilliant. It's wrong, but man, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
But the pre-critical cunt, I like some of his stuff. So before he did his critical turn and came up with his really, really weird philosophy.
Yeah, I can't agree with Kant.
If you're Emmanuel,
but
just did.
I like Sartre, but only in terms of the whole existentialism part. When it comes to other things that some of these people say, like morality wise and politically wise, it's just complete garbage. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right, let's catch the rest of this clip here.
Give you the benefit of the doubt and say your plan for a completely Jewless Palestine isn't that all the Jews should die? What is the only other option? They move. You move all the Jews. Okay, I gotta warn you, there's gonna be some kvetching.
Hey, this is when you're supposed to laugh, AP. Hey.
Yeah, what?
Even that, as he's closing out, there's not much longer on this clip, but even there, he's making a very important but simple point that the college students and so on don't get. Okay, we're going to assume the best. If you want this, you control it. If you want Hamas or whoever to control all the land from the river to the sea, what happens to the Jews? He's saying, even if we give you the benefit of the doubt and don't think you want to exterminate them, how are you going about this? You're going to move them all. You're going to move them all. You guys, so Hamas, guys think you're going to move all the Jews off that land somehow? Really? When they are about 1 million times more powerful than you? You seriously think that?
You know who else tried to at first move people before deciding to kill them? The Nazis. Hitler. That's why it's called the final solution, because the first solution didn't work.
So they had to come up with plan B.
Yeah, they thought, hey, you know what? This is taking too much time and effort and resources. How about we just kill them? And they thought, interesting. So that's how that happened. Not going to happen again.
But I mean, notice what a simple point that is it's basically for the morons, right? For the morons who are from the river to the sea, right? Okay. Tell us what's happening. Are they exterminated or are they just moved? Okay. Who's moving them? Are they moving? Are they just deciding, okay, let's decide to move? Or are you going to move them out? If so, how are you going to be powerful enough to move them out? How's that going to happen? On what planet is that a thing that could possibly happen? And that's kind of the entire point. You need to be realistic. Everything in the planning here and everything with the college students and everything, it's all delusional. It's all insane and delusional. You could say, hey, don't be more careful dropping bombs. You could say that. You could say that and have that as an actual goal.
Don't be more careful dropping bombs? Why would you say that?
Yeah, so you could say things like, hey, be more careful, or you could aim towards a two-state solution, or something like that. You could do something that is not absolutely insane. The people who, from the river to the sea, Palestine, you are insane. Or you're just completely ignorant. You don't know what you're calling for. But if you know what you're calling for, and you think that is even in the realm of possibility, you're a moron. You're a complete, total idiot. Because that's not happening. All right.
You move all the Jews, and we do this with what? A fleet of trucks called Jew-Haul?
He said Jew-Haul. Sorry, guys, if you're just tuning in and you didn't see what was going on earlier, AP was complaining about the laughter being disproportionate to the actual joke.
And to where are we moving this entire country? Texas? Sure, they have room, and I guess we could put the Wailing Wall on the border and kill two birds with one stone. Or we could just get serious.
I didn't catch that part when I first watched it. That's actually pretty good.
Yeah, that was a good joke. And then he said, or we could just get serious.
Yeah.
And that's really the takeaway. Guys, we live in a real world, not a fantasy world. It doesn't make a lot of sense to say, here's the way things were a century ago, 2 centuries ago, 5 centuries ago, and we have to go back to that, even though there's no way we're going back to that. It's at that time has passed. It's not happening anymore. It's, hey, here's the actual situation we're in. How do we move forward? It's very, very simple, and yet somehow totally absent from discussions of the Palestinians.
We live in a society.
All right, we probably won't go through much of the Ben Affleck clip. Probably just a little bit of it. Let's go through some super chats first. Let's see. Ready for some super chats?
Yes.
Muslims take land from so many
super chat's
people.
ready from me.
Not enough people realize this. I think they take so much land. They have taken a good portion of the world. Yes. If we want to start giving it back, I would actually agree to that. If Muslims said, "Hey, we will give back all the land that we've ever taken, and you have to give us back, give the Palestinians control of Israel," I think the Jews could be talked into making that agreement. I had when I was over there, I was talking to the IDF guy. He said that the Jews are always willing to negotiate. He said, tell us what the deal is. Tell us what the deal is. He says, we have a saying, you want Jerusalem? What are you offering? Isn't that great? Like, you want Jerusalem? Tell me what you're offering. Tell me what the deal is. If it's a great deal, we'll take it.
The deal is you have to allow the right of return of every single Palestinian to wherever they want to go and belong. Remove all of the Jewish settlements inside Israel. Basically turn all of it into Palestine. So yeah, no.
Zippy says, "Hey, David and AP, I'm thinking of designing a shirt with a cartoon pig screwing a Quran. Do you two want one?"
No.
No. No, thank you. Thank you for the offer. I think there is a place for that in a graphic, and I'm sure there are people who would want to wear one. I can't imagine actually wearing that, but I like the thought. Bill is an old school liberal, now considered a Republican. We've talked about that before as well, that the liberals of like the 80s and 90s are now considered like conservatives, even if they haven't changed. I saw that with Roseanne when she was on a talk show. This is when she got her show back, before she was canceled. But she was on some talk show, and the guy said, "What are you doing? Like being the champion of conservatives now and stuff, and you used to be liberal." And she goes, "I haven't changed on anything." She goes, "I haven't changed on any of my views." She goes, "You guys are the ones who changed. The rest of you are the ones who changed."
Yeah, that's pretty much how it is. That is how it is. We love him.
This guy's name. He was there yesterday too.
I choose
the cow. If I
condemn for food to death, then you should be worried. If I have to choose between 1.6 billion Viagra buyers and the cow, I choose the cow.
We don't even have time to break down what all this stuff means for people who just, if someone just tunes in and has never been here before, they don't know who Farfor is. They don't know what I choose the cow means. They don't know about the Viagra buyers and how this relates to Ali Dawa selling Viagra and so on.
Yeah, it's too much.
We're eventually going to get to the point where people can't understand anything that anyone is saying in the chat because we have our own language. Endless terrorism because of this verse, Quran 9:11. They fight in the cause of Allah and kill or are killed, ethical or not. Why does life seem cheap to them? Yeah, guys, Surah 9, verse 111, sometimes called the verse of the barter, because it's, hey, Allah has given you the garden, therefore this is what he requires in return. You fight in Allah's way, and so you slay and are slain. That's important for some of the other verses in Surah 9, like Surah 9:29, when which says, fight those who do not believe in Allah. And there have been an occasional Muslim apologist who would say, fight, that could just be like having a discussion. And Surah 9 itself defines what fighting in Allah's way means, slaying and getting slain. So you're killing until you get killed. Chloe says, D Wood, on my Christmas list, can you please give us member emojis?
Oh, yeah, you should do that.
I have the emojis from my old channel. I called them emojis because they were all Muhammad. And then AP came up with a better name. You called them momojis, remember? So you then you made momojis. I would prefer, guys, can anyone let me know in the chat if you guys can think of something for emojis, because my apologetics channel also deals with atheism and Christianity. So I'm not sure I want Muhammad in there, because lots of the videos have nothing to do with Muhammad now. So, but I don't know what emojis to use. So if guys have any, matter of fact, don't post it in the chat, because I will be much more likely to check the comments later. So post any ideas you have for custom emojis for channel members in the comment section later. And if people come up with a good idea for some emojis, I can have them made. And that would be a good something for Christmas. But we have to come up with a good idea. Dude, they kill... Brigham Young, peace be upon him. Dude, they killed Farfour. They went South Park on it. What are you guys buying each other for Christmas? We haven't even thought about that, because AP is a total atheist.
What Christmas are we talking about? How dare you suggest Christmas?
Hey, how's it work for atheists? You guys still celebrate Christmas?
Only in different ways, like in worshiping different entities.
No, I mean, like, do you have a Christmas tree and stuff like that? Or you gonna have like a Christmas tree and like presents and stuff like that?
Yeah, we actually do. We have a Christmas tree in the house, a very a big one. We have decorations outside and inside. My little our little 3-year-old son, he just loves playing with those and loves decorating. Yeah, we do. We participate in all this stuff.
And yet it's going to be like they're eventually going to ask some difficult questions. Daddy AP, what's it all mean? What's the meaning of Christmas?
We don't know, son.
You're gonna be like, I don't know. Let me look that up. Let me go with this Charlie Brown special. Oh no, this is completely wrong. This is completely wrong.
Yeah.
Hello, outsider says
we do though on Christmas on occasion, because of our atheist background, we do engage in different things also, which is like for example, after Christmas celebrations and gift giving and all of that is done, I take out my stash of human flesh and then we eat together.
Pretty sick.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, we actually have a ton. I didn't look at the number of super chats. There are a bunch of super chats. We are way behind. We're gonna have to do these rapid fire, because I would like to check out a little bit of this clip from Ben Affleck just to see how this is aged well. It's just so dumb. You're like, ISIS, I couldn't fill a AA ballpark in West Virginia or something like that. It's like ISIS is. I mean, ISIS was even stopped, but now you have all these ISIS offshoots around the world. It's like, yeah, dude, I think that's a little more built into Islam than you're aware of. Yeah. But it's a real problem with these guys. They always, it's just such a tiny minority that no one thinks like that. And these morons don't. You are actually helping them. You are actually helping the jihadis by pretending that they're this tiny minority of extremists.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so you guys are helping get people killed. Will he, dilly, really, shrilly, is he illy, tranquilly, he milli vanillies to kill Israelis? All because he willies a frilly Mars bizarre star with cigars and tar char, but he's not far. It's actually good. I wonder, can you do that stuff in chat? In that like chat GPT, can you say, hey, make me a dope little poem or something like that?
You can. It's also very good, but I'm not sure if this would be something similar to that. Yeah.
D. Wood, what is your rebuttal to those who say you are violating 2 Corinthians 6:14 by associating with AP? Keep up the good work. I would say actually read the passage.
How dare you associate with me?
Yeah, Paul says he's not saying. Paul says he's not saying just completely separate from unbelievers. He said you'd have to get out of the world. If you look at the passage, he's talking about when you're associating with people who are leading you into horrible behavior, and that's what it means. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, if I ever start sitting around with AP watching porn all day, you can apply that.
Yeah.
Hala says problem there is that I saw people saying, well, since Jews were kicked out from so many countries, that means it has to be because of something. So the claim there would be, well, why were all the Jews kicked out of the? Yeah, it's not. Once Muhammad has marked you as a group to be that is the ultimate enemy of Muslims, which is what you have in the Quran. It's Surah 5, verse 82. The most vehement in hostility towards the believers are the Jews, right? Once that's happened, and then Muhammad has shown you by his example what you do, you expel them from the land. That's exactly what he told his followers to do, and Umar eventually did it. You get a pattern. And so you could say, oh, it's just because of notice what you'd be saying here. If you were going along with this, people would be saying, the Jews must just really be that bad. And it's not because of Muhammad.
It's also a thing, throughout human history, people always had this whole idea of just trying to, of going after minorities that are in their societies and trying to somehow blame things on minorities whenever something strange happens or something doesn't go their way, trying to change the minorities, which is why very often lots of the minorities, and this is true for any society, any culture, this happens around the world all the time, at some point something happens, they blame it on certain minorities, and they try to change them and absorb them and assimilate them into the culture, and somehow that way these minorities slowly disappear, or because they realize, hey, you know what, if we just change our ways and just become part of them, it's going to be easier for us. But the Jews, it was just always very difficult with them to do that, because they were always quite resilient in their sticking to their own culture and their beliefs. Mm-hmm. So they never wanted to adopt that whole thing, like change, become what we want you to be, and then you will be okay. They were like, yeah, how about no? Mm-hmm. And Christians also had that, by the way, which in the early Roman Empire, for example, which is why they came out of it.
It's the same reason you still have Christian populations in Egypt and Pakistan, despite centuries of persecution and so on. That Jews have always just been a much smaller group and much easier to target.
And the thing is, people don't like it when when a group doesn't want to disappear, doesn't want to change, mm-hmm. doesn't want to adopt your ways. They don't like it. So,
let's see. Reminder: 30% of all Nobel Prize winners are Jewish, from only a population of 13 million people. Yeah, and the other 70% are Muslims. I'm joking. I'm sorry.
Nice.
Nope. Yeah, guys, you want to do something fun? Look up Muslims who won Nobel Prizes for anything other than a peace prize. D Wood's channel, AP's channel, age restricted, demonetized, sad, atheist. D Wood's channel, joyful for all ages, nonstop flow of shekels, Christian. Draw your own conclusions. Yep. Got a point. Got a point there. God save the Apostate Prophet and God bless David Wood every day.
Somebody said earlier, because of my comment about that we also eat human flesh on Christmas, somebody said that's horrible behavior. And I can't tell if it's just a funny, sarcastic reaction to my dumb comment, or is it?
You can't tell. You'll never be able to tell. I'm not Islamophobic. Oops. I'm not Islamophobic. I'm a Reconquista enthusiast.
Yeah, that makes sense.
David, please give my jizya to Apostate Prophet.
Inshallah.
We'll do Apostate. Why did Muhammad's wife leave? Because he couldn't bring home the bacon. Since Quran straws make alcohol halal and holy, I'm thinking of patenting the original idea of Quran condoms, holy and halal fornication anytime, even with married women. Yeah, I mean, the way these guys try to skirt their own rules is, yes, well, if I have a condom on, then I'm not actually touching. So it's halal. He says, I hope Bill talked to Tim Kennedy and Jocko Wilnick before his monologue for security tips. The religion of pieces will Allahu Akbar him into pieces unless he pays the jizz tax. Did I say that right? Yeah, you're close. Close enough. We'll give you a pass this time. But yeah, I'm sure Bill has plenty of security. And he has pointed this out back in the day. When the topic would come up, he said, whenever we're discussing Islam on a show, we always have to boost security. He goes, we don't have to do that with other topic. Why is that? Why does everyone understand that you need to increase all of you liberals and so on? Why is everyone concerned about Islam? It's a religion of peace. Every last one of you understands you need more security if you're talking about Islam. Why? How do you hold those two views in your head? No, it's just like everything else, and it's clearly not like everything else.
Yeah.
Did you guys see Italy's PM? Europe is tired of Islam.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen a couple things in the past. What did she say recently? It's that woman, right?
Yeah, Giorgia Meloni, Prime Minister of Italy.
She said, bibbidi subtitle. We don't like Islam. We like the pizza, but we don't like any Islam. Mario.
No,
Islam is like a Wario. We're like a Mario.
What she said is, what did she say? Oh yeah, she gave a speech. She was asked about something about Islam or something on her stance on Islam, and she said Islam is not compatible with Western culture, with Europe, and then she said Islam, or at least certain interpretations of Islam, are definitely not in alignment with how we experience culture here. A lot of Islamic life or a lot of Islamic influence here in Italy is funded by Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is a country that has that applies Sharia, and under Sharia, there is stoning for adultery, death for apostasy, death for homosexuality, and many more things. And we need to address these things. Like she gave that response. It was actually pretty good. It's nice to see somebody finally, again, a prime minister of a European nation say these things.
And I've been saying this for a long time to the Muslims out there, because at the end of the day, I would like to live peacefully with everyone, but Western nations can vote for their leaders, and if you tick off enough people, you're going to get leaders that are not going to be in your favor.
Yeah,
all you Muhammed Hijabs and Ali Dawas and so on of the world. You can get leaders very, very quickly, very, very quickly, if you tick off enough people.
Yes.
Hey, here's a serious question for you, AP. AP, how is it that Egypt speaks Arabic today? They lost their language and culture. Turkey still speaks Turkish. What in history made this difference? Is it narcissism? Is it the narcissism of the Turkish people?
Yes. No, the difference is actually that Egypt was very early on conquered by the Arabs and was taken over and Arabized, so they didn't have their own. They didn't take over and become a force within Islam. They were conquered. Much of the native population converted to Islam forcibly, or because it was easier for them to do, or because they didn't want to pay the jizya and all of that. Much of the remaining population, the Christians, they remained, but the whole culture was changed. It was Arabized. The same thing didn't happen with Turks, because the Turks, they encountered the Arab forces while they were raiding and trying to, like the Mongols, conquer and capture goods and people and all of that on their way. They were defeated, so they settled, but they then arose, certain people among them, actually a small population of Turkic people, they adopted Islam and went out and started fighting for Islam and preaching Islam, and they became quite successful with it, especially those known as the Oghuz Turks. And because they became a leader and a fighter in that culture, they started to take over and became a major force, like the Seljuks, who were which was the first Turkic Islamic empire. It actually became a leading Islamic force, which then turned into the Ottoman Empire, which became a caliphate, took the caliphate from the Arabs and became the first non-Arab caliphate. So that's how that's why the Turks didn't adopt Arab culture, because they weren't Arabized. They somehow just they encountered it, they were defeated, then adopted the religions, and they started fighting for it.
So they're narcissistic. Okay.
Yeah, terrible people.
Up Your Food Game says, question, why is the camel called the ship of the desert? Answer, because they're full of Arab semen. You know, what's crazy is here is that, as disgusting as this joke is, if you actually pay attention to articles in some of these countries, there will be these reports like it was discovered that this, and you guys, you can look this up. These are stories I've actually read there. It'll be discovered that someone's donkey has a venereal disease, and then they'll have to find the local teenage boys who have had sex with the donkey, and it'll be like they'll have like 15 teenage boys in the area who all have the same venereal disease because they're all having sex with the same donkey and stuff like this. It's pretty creepy.
You know what's really messed up. I know this is a horrible thing to talk about, and lots of people from those cultures will feel like, why are you telling on us? But it's when I went to Turkey and I started living there, I began hearing this thing that was completely new to me as somebody who grew up in Germany, which is this joke, or this knowledge of certain friends or people that who back in their village had sex with a donkey. And the first time I heard this, I was like, what? No, this can't be true. It must be a joke or something. And then I heard it over and over again, and then reports of people who actually did it, and of people who like dared each other to do it, and then who know friends who did it. And that was just one of the main factors that made me quite disgusted about the culture that I just landed in.
Yeah, I remember when there was the war in Iraq, the U.S. soldiers would be sharing videos using night vision cameras and stuff like this, of like just guys who go out at night and they bang the donkeys and stuff like that and stuff. Yeah. But they're sitting there filming with night. So you see the donkey and the guy banging the donkey in night vision and stuff like that. And anyway, it was pretty yep. These are the guys who are going to educate us on morality. Swiss Apologetics says, you guys know the Hadith in which Muhammad curses a little orphan girl. Why rarely someone speaks about that? That is actually a good question. I've planned for many years to make, because there are a bunch of those hadiths where Muhammad curses someone, but yeah, he curses the orphan girl and so on, and then people complain to him, you cursed the little orphan girl, and he's like, yeah, but Allah understands that I lose my temper. He understands that I lose my temper and I call down curses on little orphan girls. So, it's okay. But Muhammad will actually like say, hey, I'm just a hothead. And so it's like, wait a minute, this guy is the pattern of conduct. And he can call down curses on people, even on his followers, on orphan girls and so on. Yeah, Allah knows not to take me too seriously in my curses. Wait, this is your pattern of conduct, a hothead who calls down curses on little orphan girl? So yeah, that's worthy of. Matter of fact, we could do a live stream about that sometime and just bring up a bunch of these passages, because it does show like a problem with Muhammad. So yes, you are correct, Swiss Apologetics. That information should be put out there more than it has been.
One of the funniest things to me when I think of Muhammad cursing is that two funny things, actually. I was going to make I think I did make a video a while ago about the things that Muhammad curses people for. One of them is like a woman comes to him and says, Ya Rasulullah, my daughter, she's sick and her hair is falling out. Is it okay for us to give her artificial hair extensions? And Muhammad is like, Allah curses those who do this and those who have it done.
Yeah. I did make a video about that years ago, or no, that was so long ago that might have been an article back when I was posting on Answering Islam, but I either made a short video or I made a blog post. I don't remember, but I called it Muhammad versus Locks of Love, because there's an actual organization, Locks of Love, that goes around getting people to cut their hair and then give it to people who going through chemo, kids who are going through chemo or something like that. And Muhammad says it's evil. It's just evil. What, Muhammad? The hair's all falling out, and can we just make a wig so the kid's not embarrassed? You're evil. It will be a curse of Allah.
Be gone from me, you evil person.
Spend eternity in hell for.
How dare you? Oh, the other thing is also he finds somebody laying on their stomach in the mosque, and he goes to them and like, it's like, hey, Allah hates this position, and the guy's like, oh, okay, no, you're not gonna do it again. Like, really? That's what Allah hates?
Yeah,
that's what's so important.
Yeah, that's what he's worried about. So you can bang a 5-year-old, but
don't sleep on your stomach.
Yeah, don't do that. The cow he picked. I am the cow, and I approve this message. TBN vid shows Hamas-Stinians. That's funny. Hamas-Stinians. TBN video shows Hamas-Stinians are using baby dolls filled with explosives. Apparently, a woman with a baby were shot by IDF. I wonder if she ran at them. Yeah, don't know. Gosh, baby dolls filled with explosives. That's nuts. And notice the goal of that, right? It would be to make the soldiers extremely wary that anything could be a bomb, that anything could blow up in their face, and so make them more antsy and more inclined to shoot first from a distance, and thus kill more people who aren't actually Hamas, so Hamas can dial up their media campaign. Look what they did! They shot this person.
It's so stupid. Like, the IDF publishes videos of them going into a location and discovering things, including discovering traps wherever they go, seeing hidden weapons, stashes, and stuff like that. But whenever they publish something along those lines, like some proof of what they're finding, what Hamas left, the people are like, oh, how do we know that you didn't plant it there? How do we know that you didn't do this? How do we know it's actually Hamas? It's actually Palestinians? You are a liar. You're lying to us. Like, they ask for proof, ask for proof. As soon as they're shown proof, they're like, fake. How do we know it's not you doing this? It's ridiculous.
Have you seen the natural disasters happening in Mecca? You seen that?
No, I haven't. What disasters?
No, I don't know about that. Do you remember? You remember the video of like the cockroaches invading?
Yeah, that was beautiful.
Creepy stuff. No, not familiar with any. If you're talking about something recent with the natural disasters, yeah, I haven't seen that. To our friend the Farfour GPT, MIT must have an AI you could use. Yeah, I think there are alternative AIs that you could use. And regarding the Green Prince, he has an Eastern viewpoint of embodying Christ consciousness. I choose the cow. Oh, we got another one from the cow that he picked. The IDF published videos of the tunnel excavation today. You should check it out to show the true scale of Hamas OP in Gaza, not just apes with AK. Yeah, did you watch the video of them like going through the tunnel? It's like, gosh.
Yeah. And there was a report on how much that stuff would cost if you did that in America, for example. It's extremely expensive.
Yeah, they had like a 2.5 mile. The big tunnel that they found was like, I mean, they've got tons and tons of tunnels, but this one's like 2.5 miles long. I mean, that's a nightmare. 2.5 mile long tunnel.
And it just brings to mind again this whole thing, like, people around the world, they send money, they send funds and all kinds of things to the region, say, oh, this is to help the Palestinians, help them in their efforts and help them get a better life. They need it. They are in such bad situation. And then Hamas uses those funds to build tunnels.
Yeah, you send money to them. You send money to them, and that money goes to making the leaders rich and building tunnels to hide in after their terrorist attacks.
Yeah, I mean, even if you are on the side of Hamas, right? Even if you're on the Palestinian side, how do you think they build those tunnels? Mm-hmm. But how in the world do you think they built they put those tunnels together? It's extremely expensive. The money, the funds that are spent, the resources that are spent building those tunnels if they were spent for the population or providing shelter or jobs or whatever it is for the population, they would be in much better situations at the moment, and they wouldn't have to go out and rape Israelis.
I've always been impressed by tunnel building. There was you should look up the Battle of the Crater at some point. It was awesome. I forget which side was which, and it was during the American Civil War. It was during the Civil War, and you had you had the armies in Virginia. They're lined up against each other, and they couldn't. Neither side could break through. And then one of the generals realized he had one of the whatever it is groups were miners. That's what their job was before they enlisted in the army and so on. So he's like, hey, can you actually like dig up under them? They're like, yeah, sure. So they start digging a tunnel. They dig a tunnel up under the opposing army's line, fill it with explosives, right? And then they come up with a plan. We're going to blow that up. We're going to blow it up right beneath them, and that's going to make a hole in their line. And then our soldiers going to march through, right? March through that hole in their line. So anyway, so they they do it, but they end up putting way too much explosives there. So it blows this massive crater in, but there's so much smoke that the army had all their soldiers lined up to march through this, but they just fell in this giant hole. Right? So the plan was for, sort of march down into the little dip and then march back up the other side and stuff. And it made a giant crater. They couldn't see. So they all march into this. And then the opposing army, of course, gathers around, just starts shooting all these soldiers sitting down in this hole.
Oh, boy.
But it's actually funny. This cool stuff you can do if you can.
It sounds funny.
It's pretty cool.
It sounds pretty fun.
So we've got the Green Prince, and then Obey says Muhammad Hijab is the Golden Prince. He sure is. I got some super shekels from my name is Sean. Big Rig. This week in Muslim logic, Bill, humans are not good people. Momo was a human, therefore, he's using a syllogism here. Humans are not good people. Muhammad was a human, therefore Muhammad wasn't a good person. Therefore, Bill hates our religion, and every point in the video is wrong. Yeah, pretty much.
That makes sense.
Yes, Muhammad was good, even when he's cursing little orphan girls. His butt Tahrir in some parts of the world is also known as his butt-Tahrir. That's obviously someone from AP's channel coming over here.
Definitely.
Theory. Anti-Semitism is rising because you need to reject the Jewish story to believe in the standard oppressed narrative. Anti-Semitism is rising because you need to reject the Jewish story to believe in the standard oppressed narrative.
I don't get it.
Yeah, I feel like I would get it if my brain weren't fried right now.
Anti-Semitism is rising because you
need to reject the Jewish story to believe in the standard oppressed narrative.
The problem is also when somebody mentions standard narrative, I immediately start thinking of Yasser Qadi, and then that comes into
the standard narrative, and I came up with the standard Islamic narrative, which is abbreviated as SIN. Some guy. Let's see. Hey, what is this? What is this weird language? Is that Turkish?
That's Turkish. This is again the lyrics to a very popular Turkish song from back in the day.
Do you guys have music in Turkey?
No. But sometimes we do. Yeah.
What to call a Muslim billionaire? Prophet Muhammad.
Prophet Muhammad. Yeah.
You two are doing great. Have a great stream. Yes, we are. We are doing a great job. Thus refuting Bill Maher's claim that human beings suck. Can you guys go to Israel and the West Bank together? Yes, we could.
I would definitely go to Israel. I don't think I would want to go to the West Bank. I don't know.
You could. I've been to the West Bank. You could go there. You probably want to be a little bit disguised.
Yeah, I don't want to
recognizing you. Oh, you're going, buddy. You're going.
I want to go to the West Bank.
Hey, we have more Turkish here for you. This one's about you specifically. Ridvan. Hey, I can even read this. It says, Ridvan, you atheist. And then he says Farfor in there. So I see this. What is this?
It says, Ridvan, you atheist, beautiful creature, or beautiful whatever, dance for me like Farfor. That's what it says.
That's actually funny. Chloe here says, co-host Ash with James Whale, smashed ambassador. Go watch Shani Luke video. Gazans are spitting on body. He said to the guy who didn't condemn October 7th.
Yeah. Who said that? James Whale.
James. I've been seeing that. I've been seeing that on Twitter. I have no idea who that is, but I've been seeing the James Whale thing.
Oh, isn't that Talk TV? The guy I saw a clip of him. I don't know who that is, but I saw Talk TV clip with that guy. I don't know.
And here with the meow, Chloe, but pro Palestinians don't think like that. Jesus needs to give them more brain cells. Pray for the smooth brains. Yeah, it's and that's what sucks. Like, if the entire world was telling them, guys, get over it, and stop promoting terrorism and work towards getting, your own state and not trying to exterminate Israel, like they might go for it. The problem is the entire world kind of cheers them on, right? You've got college students cheering them on. You've got the Dawa guys cheering them on, and they think, oh, if this many people are agreeing with us, we can actually do it. No, you can't. No, you can't. Those college students are not helping you. They're hurting you because they're giving you hope. They're somehow making you think that you can actually defeat a massively more powerful nation.
That is real. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Your Israeli agency handler says, "Good job, keep it going. It's good. We like all the messages." Let's see. Love you both. Watched David and gang for 10 years. Hate the takia they spew and the woke idiots following them, but they don't fool me because I'm an ex-Muslim.
Wait, he said watched David and gang for 10 years. Hate the takia they spew and the woke idiots following them. So see, he's saying that you do takia and woke idiots are following you. That's what it says.
Regarding the deaths of women and kids, Israel should say, we honor Prophet Muhammad's teaching in Sahih Muslim 1745 that they are of them. It's shirk to disagree. Yeah, we wouldn't want Israel actually using that as a defense, but that should be pointed out. Like, Muhammad was entirely comfortable with killing women and children if they are not the main targets and they're killed as collateral damage.
Mahmoud.
Let's see. And then we'll watch, take another super chat or two, and then we'll, because there's a bunch. Why is that? What's going on today? What is special about it? Is it because Christmas is coming up? I'm wondering why everyone's on here.
It's a good topic, and it's Christmas.
Okay. So it's a combination of factors. But yeah, we'll watch a little bit of this Belmar and the super genius Ben Affleck. I needed to split my shekels between you both, but D-Wood gets more. Oh, so this is probably on the, as far as the channel memberships that Chloe gifted. I needed to split my shekels between you both, but D-Wood gets more for being Christian. Once you become Christian,
how dare you
get more of my shekels. Looking forward to that. It's just like, this is
discrimination.
Yeah, it's like Eli saying that he gives you $199.99 and not the extra penny.
See, this is racism. It's discrimination.
AP's being oppressed, everyone.
Yeah.
Bill Maher is so on point. I know that, again, that's why I had some other topics I wanted to cover, but we were like, oh man, we got to cover that because it was awesome. And my name is Sean. In 7th century Arabia lived a horny Arab fella. Muhammad was his name, and the Quran he proclaimed. While smoking some Quran kush, he grabbed 9-year-old Aisha's tush.
Yeah.
To admit God's not with them is to say Islam is false. Oh yeah, that is the problem. We pointed out, like, at what point do you realize, hey, God is not helping you defeat these Jews here? And the correct answer would be never, because yeah, you would start doubting Islam. They are hanging pro-Palestine papers in a city near me. Why is this propaganda hanging in American cities? Because there are lots of stupid people in the world.
A lot of stupid people.
And lots of, especially young people, but everyone in the West have been conditioned over a period of many years to just accept your daily marching orders. And you could just say, hey, here's the thing. So you get the message on Twitter in the morning. This is what you're supposed to be enraged about today. And if you don't get enraged about this, then you're bad and you're no longer part of our group. So everyone's been programmed with that now. It's exactly how it should be. Free Persia, freedom with dancing. Please cover this story. Sadeh Boogie, Free Persia. Yeah, we should be, and I've done it periodically, saying free Mecca and stuff like that. And but yeah, it is a ongoing problem. Golden Shower.
There's a lot of stuff in Iran. Iran rebellions, again, protests, attempts to free it from Islamic oppression and all of that. Still ongoing, still a lot of protests and all of that still happening.
I think that one's going to happen.
Yeah, it's going to
happen. I think
forever.
the Iranian regime is going to collapse at some point. Just hope it happens sooner rather than later.
Inshallah.
It's like Putin saying we will take Alaska back. Yes, it is. Give us Alaska back. They stole Alaska from us. Now we paid you for it. So what? You can't just buy stuff. Hamas is taking window shopping to new levels.
Hey, wait a second. I wanted to look up if there is any recent, any such absurd comments on Alaska, and I'm seeing December 9th, Putin ally hints at Russian plot to reclaim Alaska in the face of weakened U.S. government. What? Man.
All right, let's watch a little of this clip.
What's wrong with people?
So the other thing we want to talk about, of course, is that you and I have been trying to make the case, I think, I have anyway, that liberals need to stand up for liberal principles. This is what I said on last week's show. Obviously, I got a lot of hate for it. But all I'm saying is that liberal principles like freedom of speech, freedom to practice any religion you want without fear of violence, freedom to leave a religion, equality for women.
Isn't that, it's so commonsensical, right? Hey, we're liberals. Notice he's talking to liberals. And it's funny because the liberals who are with him are going to lose their minds. Ben Affleck. How dare you? And it's, hey guys, we're liberals, but we keep defending this thing that is the opposite of everything we believe in. Why are we doing that? That is stupid. We should not be doing that. And it's like the worst thing anyone could say. And it's racist to point out the absurdity.
Absolutely.
Equality for minorities, including homosexuals. These are liberal principles that liberals applaud for. But then when you say in the Muslim world, this is what's lacking, then they get upset.
Yeah. Isn't that brilliant? Like, hey, these are our values if we're talking about this group. These are our values if we're talking about this group. These are our values if we're talking about that group. These are our values that we support in the U.S. These are our values that we support in Europe. These are our values that, hey, should we support those values in the Muslim world? No, how dare you, you racist. How dare you, you racist. You're being a racist.
Pretty much.
It should be the least controversial thing in the world. And it's the most controversial thing you can say as a liberal. It's just nuts, man.
Yeah, well, liberals have really failed on the topic of theocracy. They'll criticize white theocracy. They'll criticize Christians. They'll still get agitated over the abortion clinic bombing that happened in 1984. But when you want to...
He's brilliant, isn't he?
Exactly.
Hey, guys, For those who want to say, no, Sam Harris is wrong and stupid about this other thing. Yeah, he reminds me of Bill Maher in that sense, that he could be like, how are you this right over here and this stupid on this other topic? But yes, for some reason, just it's something that should be completely commonsensical. It must just be they have some part of their brain that makes them somewhat immune to a certain kind of manipulation that influences most other people, and they just don't fall for it, and they're able to see clearly on this issue. Wait, if this is our list of values, then Islam is the opposite of that. Why, in the name of common sense, would we be supporting Islam? Whereas everyone else is just told, here is our list of values, and support Islam anyway, no matter what.
Yeah.
Talk about the treatment of women and homosexuals and free thinkers and public intellectuals in the Muslim world. I would argue that liberals have failed us. And the crucial point of confusion,
Hey, yay, woohoo! Got the audience full of liberals saying, yeah, liberals suck when it comes to Islam, and we get insanely stupid.
Thank you.
Thank God you're here.
Yeah.
Well, did you hear Ben?
What did he say?
He said, "Thank God you're here," like sarcastically.
Oh yeah.
And that messed up. So he's like, "Hey, we failed. Liberals have failed when it comes to Islam." And Ben Affleck possibly roided out. I do not know that is the case. He could have just been totally enraged for some other reason. But it is plausible, Joe Rogan's theory, that he's actually roided up to play Batman at this point, and he's in a roid rage. But thank God you're here.
Pay attention to what's happening up until this point here. They're not even talking about Islam in the West or opposing Islamization. They're not talking about any of these rather controversial things. They are talking about the rights of people in the Muslim world, like the rights of minorities, the rights of gay people, the rights of women, the rights of others in the Muslim world. It should be completely normal for you to agree that you should stand up for them because they probably need your help and your solidarity. But at this point, to be outraged, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I know. That's what I mean. It's like, how is this not just completely obvious? Like, of course. I mean, even the audience is like, yes, good point. Like, hey, we're a bunch of liberals here, and we realize we've been really stupid in defending terrorism and Islamic abuse of women. And I mean, gosh, they still have the death penalty for being gay, and you persecute religious minorities. How are we defending that? It is the exact opposite of everything we say we stand for. How is it even controversial to say we've failed if we are defending Islam? Really, really. Hey, what is this? Chloe asked from earlier, "You're a felon?" D. Wood, that surprises me. Please explain. Chloe, where have you been? Chloe, where have you been if you don't know that I'm a felon? Hey, check out, we won't go through that right now, but check out my video on my channel. How God destroyed my atheism. You get the whole story there in pretty awesome fashion. I don't mean to brag, but awesome video. And Any Poo Poo says, actually, I'd say this is the best campaign platform ever. David Wood, 2028. Please poll the audience. I'm sure I'm not alone. Get on board, AP. Yeah, I wonder if you could. I wonder if you could be vice president if I ran for president. We should do that just as a joke. I don't actually want to lead.
Let's see.
I would do it just because I would like to take the black stone and do my pig intestines trick. But other than that, I would not want to be any sort of political leader ever. I'd rather do what I'm doing here. President
or vice president must be a natural born citizen. Sorry.
Hey, look, she was 9 years old. Says I challenge. She was 9 years old. Guy says I challenge. I choose cow to a wrestling match. How did this become the big battle of our time? I choose the cow versus she was 9 years old. Hey,
It makes sense.
Hey, could you imagine if they actually had a wrestling match and then I choose the cow would be like, do you think that was a good move? It was the perfect move. Let's get back to
the crucial point of confusion is that we have been sold this meme of Islamophobia, where every criticism of the doctrine of Islam gets conflated with bigotry toward Muslims as people.
Right.
And that is it's intellectually ridiculous.
Look, you can hear the crowd getting it. They're getting it because it should be obvious to everyone. When someone says, "Hey, look, you can beat your wives into submission. You can marry child brides and stuff. We should be standing against that. And say, oh, you're just racist against brown people. You're like, oh, that's stupid. You shouldn't be falling for that. The crowd sees it. And then Ben Affleck, the champion of that, that's racist, is about to jump in and do exactly what what Sam here is pointing out is insanely stupid.
So hold on, are you the person who understands the officially codified?
Here we go. This is. I just wanted to see this. Watch. He pulls this. I mean, it happens every time.
What are your qualifications?
It's what we just saw from Dilly Hussein last night on AP's channel. Here we go.
It's intellectually ridiculous. Even it gets.
So hold on, are you the person who understands the officially codified doctrine of Islam? You're
Actually, yes, he is.
Isn't that nuts, though? Like, I mean, think about this. Guys, we're liberals. We say that these are our values. Islam teaches the exact opposite of those values. And we defend Islam because we've been programmed. We've been relentlessly programmed and conditioned to think of any criticism of Islamic values as something to do with racism. And it's just because the only people who say that that these things are wrong in the Muslim world are racists. We've been programmed that, and we need to stop. We need to actually defend the values that we say we believe in. And are you the Grand Mufti? Are you the Grand Mufti? I'm Batman. I'm Batman.
You're talking to Batman. How dare you?
It's the exact same thing. And for anyone who came in late, I mentioned this much earlier, but this is what you see. Any random politician who knows absolutely nothing about Islam, any journalist who knows absolutely nothing about Islam, they've all felt for years that they can say what is and is not Islamic. To such an extent, they'll say, these guys are not real Muslims because they're doing this, even though those of us who study Islam know that what those guys are doing is exactly what Islam teaches. But you'll have politicians and journalists, no, those aren't real Muslims because they're doing this thing that is commanded in the Quran.
Yeah.
And yet, if you criticize anything, well, are you an expert on Sharia? Did you go to Al-Azhar? Are you the Grand Mufti? Then you have to shut up. Why? How is that a rule? How do you need to be a world-renowned expert to say, Muhammad says right here, you can beat your wife into submission, that's bad. Why do you need to be a scholar to say that? I don't know. I haven't been able to figure out. It really, really looks like it's just a simple way to attempt to silence someone. Just are you a scholar? Can't listen to you. Can't listen to you. You're not an expert on that in that field. Being able to read or think is pretty much all the ability you need to accurately criticize Islam.
So you can say, this is.
I'm actually well educated on this topic.
I'm asking you. So you're saying if I criticize you're saying that Islamophobia is not a real thing. That if you're critical of something,
Wait, what?
Right? Who said that?
Yeah, and Sam is going to respond. No, there are people who hate Muslims. There are people who hate Arabs. There are people who don't like Muslims just because they're Muslims and want to. Yes, there are people, and not saying that doesn't exist. That's not what's happening. If I say, hey, beating your wife into submission is bad. It's not what's happening. Yeah. What a dope, man. What a dope.
Real thing when we do it.
Right.
Well, no, it really isn't.
I'm not denying that certain people are bigoted against Muslims as people. And that's a problem.
Big of you.
But
why did you hear him? He goes, "That's big of you."
Look at that response.
That's big of you. That's big of you.
That's big of you. Oh God.
Shut up about this.
It's gross. It's racist.
It's not.
He's instantly going. It's gross. It's racist. Oh my goodness.
That's that moment. Oh God.
I'm Matt Damon. He should have had Matt on there with him. I'm Matt Damon.
So it's like saying you're a shifty Jew.
You're not listening
Absolutely
to
not.
what we are saying.
You guys are saying if you want to be liberals, believe in liberal principles like freedom of speech, like we are endowed by our forefathers with inalienable rights, like all men are created equal.
Ben, we have to be able to criticize bad ideas. And
of course we do.
Here we go. Let me back this up because this is like the ultimate classic line from Sam Harris. Here we go.
All men are created equal.
Ben, we have to be able to criticize bad ideas. And
of course we do. No liberal doesn't want to criticize bad ideas.
But Islam at this moment is the motherlode of bad ideas.
Jesus.
So we have...
I love Bill Maher there. It's like, exactly. How is this an issue? Of course. Watch Bill Maher. It's awesome. His little reaction there just puts his arms up in the air.
Freedom of speech, like, we are endowed by our forefathers with an inalienable rights, like all men are created equal.
Ben, we have to be able to criticize bad ideas. And
of course we do. No liberal doesn't want to criticize bad ideas.
But Islam at this moment is the motherlode of bad ideas.
Look at Bill.
Jesus.
So we have ideas.
Bill's like, it's so easy. How hard is this? It's so simple. What's your problem here? Are you stupid? I love that. and then what?
It's probably not always the most diplomatic way to respond to somebody who is so outraged like Ben Affleck, but the fact that Sam Harris here just responds with such a harsh fact here, which is like, this guy is already outraged that you're speaking so critically of Islam and Muslim culture, and he's like, no, it's not just a bad idea, it's the motherlode.
It's the motherlode of bad ideas. And I wonder if he's just like, hey, I got to go ahead and say this, or he's like, Ben Affleck looks like he's about to explode, and I'm going to enrage him even more, just so he looks like a ball of whiny emotion even more. Let me back this up. Watch out. So Sam says Islam is the motherlode of bad ideas. Bill Maher gives us, finally, someone said it. It's so easy. How hard is this to understand? Now, let's see Ben's reaction here.
Bad ideas. And
of course we do. No liberal doesn't want to criticize bad ideas.
But Islam at this moment is the motherlode of bad ideas.
Jesus.
So we have ideas like blasphemy.
It's an ugly thing.
Apostasy.
It is one basic liberal
let me
principle
unpack
of
it.
tolerance.
Let me unpack it.
But not for intolerance.
No, of course not. But the
It just cracks me up. It's Ben. First of all, what in the name of what is Ben Affleck doing on this show?
Why is he talking? Too often, celebrities that became famous for completely different reasons try to talk about things that they shouldn't be talking about. Like, why is this guy talking about this at all?
Yeah, and I think Ben, because you do want to be careful, and your goal, if you're a liberal, should be, hey, let's keep the issues clear that we have a problem with bad ideas, and we want to confront these ideas without making sure, without making people hate Muslims in general and despise Muslims or something like that. That's what you should be. That's all you should do. If you don't know what you're talking about, which Ben Affleck doesn't, that should be the goal. Hey guys, let's just keep it clear that we're talking about the realm of ideas, and that there are people who are acting on those bad ideas, and we need to confront those people, but this doesn't mean that you just hate all Muslims or something like that. That should be the goal. That should be the goal. And they would have all agreed on that. Instead of, how dare you, you're racist, you're being racist, oh my goodness. Fine, Batman is canceled. I'm canceling Batman because you're so evil. What a big baby. Let's see. Yati says, the white robes and shaving head at the Kaaba is pure Hinduism. The black stone is literally a Hindu Shiva lingam. People don't know about Hindi presence in pre-Islam Arabia. There's more to this. I've seen that. I've never seen the evidence that this is actually, no, I'm not saying there's not. I've just never looked into it, but I've seen that there was Hindu influence there. And so, but I'm wondering, it would kind of make sense if there are problems with saying that Islam, that Mecca was this hub of trade and so on. It's not on the trade maps and so on, but there was lots of, there was spice trading and so on going around, but lots of that was from Yemen. So I don't know. I don't know what the level of influence was.
I would say I would contest that immediately and say that there is no evidence for that at all.
Wrong.
Secondly,
wrong.
Secondly, the whole the stone, the black stone, it doesn't have to be a Shiva lingam or anything like that. People often act like, especially like, no offense, but from Hindu background, often act like Hinduism has a monopoly on world polytheistic religions and their cultures and influences and all that. But that's not really the case. Stone worship and using stones during worship, using stones to somehow identify their gods and all of that. It was a common thing in pre in Middle Eastern, even Semitic cultures, it is very well known that that was a thing, and the fact that the Arabs also had such a practice is not very surprising. It's probably not connected to Hinduism or anything like that. It is just something that cultures that do not just come from one source, which is India, but cultures independently developed or just traded and gave to each other. They also had this practice of having cube-shaped buildings in Arabia and in Persia and slowly in other places. They didn't adopt all of these things from Hinduism. They just developed them separately. So yeah, I wouldn't say that there's any origin to that at all.
So yeah, I'm like Ape. I would need to see some good evidence of that, and not just, hey, well, they had a stone and they had this cube, and we see that's same thing in other areas. We'd have to see some actual evidence of borrowing there.
Yeah.
Dimitrios says, hey guys, just wanted to ask you if you had a chance to see the video I sent to AP. Would love your take on it. Maybe you can make a video reacting to the lecture.
I saved it, but I didn't look at it yet, unfortunately.
Well, why are you being a jerk? It could be something important. We get lots of our good points from people pointing stuff out to us.
I don't like to look at important things.
Far 4 says, Jewel to Texas. Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys, that's Far 4 the mouse appreciating Bill Maher's point earlier. Chloe says, I've been informed, D Wood, I had dark thoughts as a kid, fights with dad and grandpa and mom, got close to acting on it. Lucky I didn't. As a young adult, wanted to be like Joker Psycho. Now I found Jesus. Yep. See, AP, look, see that? I don't believe in Jesus, but look.
Yeah.
Look at the impact Jesus has. Mm-hmm. Could you imagine if Chloe had just said, I'm gonna follow an atheist like Jeffrey Dahmer?
Yeah.
All the land around the Mediterranean Sea, Rome will be free.
Inshallah.
I choose. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that was all the Roman Empire back in the day. Got to give it back. I choose the cow wants to Far 4. I choose the cow wants to condemn me. I'm going to make sure he keeps them leather straps shut. He is slippery. He will be vibrated. This is another example where if someone doesn't know all these little things that we, if they don't know our little language, they won't understand any of it. Leather straps, slippery, vibrated, Far 4. I choose the cow. None of that will make sense to a random person coming into this live stream.
This man is most slippery. Yeah.
Debate Ali Dawa, but you won't. You would be trembled. Actually, you did, and you did get a debate set up with Ali Dawa, and he started munching on grapes.
Yeah.
Look, I'm eating the grapes. Yeah. Look, I got this guy feeding me grapes. Yeah.
It's so ridiculous. Like he challenged me to debate him in person, and because he thought I would not accept it, because back in the day when we were talking with Mohammed Hijab about debating, I said no, I'm not doing in-person debate with you. I'm going to do it online. Let's do this. So I guess because of that background, he didn't expect me to actually accept it. He challenged me to an in-person debate, and I'm like, okay. Mm-hmm. Let's do it.
Yeah.
and then he tried to change it. Like, okay, yeah, no. Okay, I will come to America. Okay, you have to come to this city. Not to that city. No, not that city. Actually, I can't come to America. I will come to Mexico. Let's do the debate in Mexico. Like, what in the world is this? Eventually, he had to take it to doing it online and doing a curse fest instead.
And by the way, notice it's the exact same thing Hijab does with fighting, right? It's, you fight me, you come here, and you. That's the first thing the guy did. The guy said, "I'll fight you," and he's like, "Oh, will you come to the UK to fight here?" Because the guy's in Israel, and he's like, "Sure, let's set it up." And so it's just. We should take bets on how Mohammed Hijab is going to back out of this. Like, what are all the possible ways that he can back out of this while saving face and making it seem like he's not backing out? But so, I mean, at least Hijab has been in debates. Daniel Hakikachu actually has done like formal debates Sheikh Uthman will only debate if it's like in his corner surrounded by his people. He won't do an actual formal debate like on a stage or something like that. But Ali Dawa, I mean, I can't imagine that guy doing a formal debate. And I don't think he ever will. I've never seen him do it. I don't think he ever will. I think he's a total coward. And I think he knows how stupid his ideas are and how they would be destroyed.
Imagine Ali Dawa being in an actual formal debate. That's just, no, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Not going to happen.
She was 9 years old, says, we need an AP and D Wood lore explained stream. We need like a list where anyone who's new comes along. We just say, hey, go over to look at this document or look at this post or something like that. I guess I could have like a community post somewhere and just share the link, or maybe might even need to just repost the list in the description of every live stream. Here's what leather straps of the anus means. Here's who far 4 is. Here's
we should have a thing like everyone who comes here first has to go and look at that list and before they can make comments.
Amber Black says, David, you can vote or own a gun. No, I cannot do either. I think I could, if I applied for them, get my rights to vote back. I just don't care enough to do that.
So hold on. You can run for president, but you can't vote.
That's what's funny. And that's why I need to run for president. It's the only way I can pardon myself and get my right to own a gun.
That's so stupid.
Yeah. The gun part. Yeah. So you can be a convicted violent felon and get your right to vote back. They will not give me a right to own a gun back. And to be fair, I understand it. I understand the rule. Hey, this guy has been violent and therefore can't have a gun. Just kind of sucks when you got jihadis around the world saying they're going to brutally slaughter me and my entire family. And so, I'll be sitting here like this. Oh, come get me. I've got these pliers. I've got this Gerber. Fortunately, I got these guns, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway.
Yeah.
How about Quran toilet paper? Yeah, well, someone's got to print it up and market it. As you said yesterday, atheists wish for divine justice. Come to Jesus, AP. I believe your good deeds will be rewarded with a chance to see him at the end. He will help you release your anger like he helped me.
Inshallah.
Hey, Chloe, why you keep... like... I get what Chloe's saying. Hey, AP, come to Jesus and stuff, but she she seems to think that I don't think of you as an angry person. She's telling you he can help you get rid of your anger.
Not too much, just
like you don't seem to, like, you seem to be appropriately enraged at certain things. Like I normally say, and it's like, okay, yes, it is appropriate to be angry at that.
Yeah, I do sometimes get uncontrollably angry when I am confronted with certain situations.
Yeah, it's usually messed up stuff, and then you'll start ranting.
Yeah. You often see that. It's like, actually, you know what? The most angry that I am throughout especially over the last years, is during some of the live streams that we have. That's the most angry that I get when I react to some really messed up things here.
You see?
Otherwise, I'm not really that angry of a person.
Yeah, you seem pretty laid back on most things until something that is deserving of rage comes up. Here's an actually good question. If the choice came down to 1.6 billion Muslims actually conquering the world and a cow, what would you guys choose? Yeah, I go with if it's see the way Masab put it, it's like, hey, if I have to choose between 1.6 billion Muslims or a cow, it sounds like he's saying dying or something like that. And he would rather save the cow or something like that. If you're talking about conquering the world, I'd take the cow all day long.
I don't know. It's a difficult decision to make.
Let's see. How can anyone move the Jews when God has already given the Holy Land to them? Yeah, I pointed out before, I don't even think of Israel in the terms of like, when I'm thinking about the issue, I'm not thinking of any sort of divine right to the land. And does this group or that group have divine rights? Some people, lots of people do, and lots of Christians do. I'm just thinking, okay, there's right now, Israel is a country, and there's a bunch of terrorists, and there's a bunch of people around them who want to exterminate them, and yet I would trust Israel with that land way more than I would trust Hamas or something like that. And so, I mean, I'm thinking in terms of terms of human rights and who is best likely to preserve that and so on.
Because you're an atheist.
Let's see. Is Judaism a cult of those who didn't believe in the fulfillment of the Old Testament? The faithful Judeans believed in Jesus. Judaism a cult of those who didn't believe in the fulfillment of the Old Testament. Yeah, I don't know if I describe it. I don't know if I describe it that way. There were modifications in Judaism which were a reaction to Christianity. Like we did a live stream. You can check it out if you haven't already. I did a live stream with Anthony Rogers, and he pointed out that if you go back to, the time of Jesus, it was pretty common to believe that there was some sort of plurality within the nature of God because of passages in the Old Testament and because of their commentaries and so on. And they would talk, it's very common to talk about God and the Word of God as like divine and somehow personal, and the Spirit of God as divine and somehow personal and so on. This was all very common, and later Judaism sort of went into a Unitarian mode to set itself more distant from Christianity and so on. But I don't know. You still have a big spectrum within Judaism now.
Yeah.
So.
Indeed.
Let's see. Jesus GPT. Facing a situation where Hamas desire harm, remember wisdom and love central to my teachings, prioritize safety of innocence, necessity for authorities to act. Romans 13, it is a servant of God, an avenger who, what is this? Is this something you actually put into, is there a Jesus GPT?
I forgot to look that up. She told us about that on the last, on our last live stream, and I said I would look it up. Because she said there is actually a Jesus GPT.
You could talk to. Yeah, we should make a video. Yeah. We should just do that during a live stream and start interacting with it and asking questions and stuff.
I just opened it right now. I'm looking at it. Huh. That's interesting.
We should do that in a live stream.
Yeah.
Christmas tree, you see, he was never a real atheist. He's pointed out you're not a real atheist because you had a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Chloe says, this is continuing from the Jesus GPT, an avenger who brings wrath on the one who practices evil. Romans, where hostages are at stake, priority is their safe recovery. So I guess that's the response that Chloe was getting from the Jesus GPT. Let's see, White Lily says, watching you two is basically my therapy since real therapy is expensive. Paying jizya is cheaper. David is technically a doctor after all. Let's see. I love New York. My brothers and sisters, Palestinian people, get rid of terrorist Hamas and live in peace with your neighbor, David Wood and the Apostate Prophet. Love from Ethiopia. Yeah, and guys, notice it's actually simple. Bill Maher was pointing out like how simple this is to understand, but the actual solution, people of Palestine, just stop. One, realize you're not going to conquer Israel. That's insane and delusional. You're not going to do it. And so, two, with that understanding that you are not going to control the land from the river to the sea, but you can have some of it. If you go long enough without supporting terrorism, you can have your own state. That should be your goal. Why is that not a thing? Why is that not the thing? Why is that not the goal of all of you? I don't know.
This is very fascinating, actually. I just tested a little bit of it and asked it a few questions like what I should be doing. And then I mentioned a great act of violence that occurred and what should be done. And it actually gave me like responses that sound like the way Jesus would respond in the Bible. And where it says, take these into consideration, that like seek justice, not revenge, pray for healing and peace, things like this. It's a very interesting.
We need a Muhammad. We need a Muhammad GPT.
Yeah, kill them all.
Kill them all. Kill them all. Every response, I kill you. I curse you. I curse that orphan girl. Yeah, here you go. This is from the Nobel Prize earlier. Muhammad won the Nobel Jizz Prize.
Man.
If I send a Quran to Venus, will it become habitable? Habitable?
Probably.
Yes, of course. The Quran's magic properties will do that. Let's see. No comment there. The IDF is coming soon to free us from Farfor gangsters. Gangsters. People don't know what the gangsters about.
You think we don't want gangsters?
Coming soon to free us from Farfor gangsters, so I won't need to pay jizya for Piglet anymore. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Is it true?
Yes.
Is it true that the Black Death plague was blamed on the Jews?
It was at one point, yeah. It was blamed on many different things. Never on the actual thing.
Yeah, people didn't understand rats carry fleas and fleas
Yeah.
carry plague. People didn't understand stuff back then. And so
They
it's
thought
always,
this would be
why is this
punishment
happening?
from God. Punishment from God. It is because of immorality. It is because of the witches. It is because of the Jews. It is because of this and that. They never figured it out.
That's right. Let's see a little more. Who is this guy? Who is this guy who
Sure, your painting
starts talking?
is to some extent true, but is hugely incomplete. It is
Nicholas-
certainly true that plenty of fanatics and jihadis
Nicholas
are Muslim, but the people who are standing up to them, Malala, incredible
Malala's
Muhammad Ali
fantastic, yes.
Dadak in Iran, in prison for 9 years for speaking up for Christians. A friend that I had in Pakistan who was shot this year, Rashid Rahman, for defending people accused of apostasy.
Nick,
Or how about the more than a billion?
What did this guy say that Sam and Bill wouldn't agree with? Hey, yes, you need to support the people who are standing against that stuff. I think the difference is going to be, as far as all these guys are concerned, is Bill and Sam understand that it has something to do with the ideology and it's not just like random.
Mm-hmm.
A friend that I had in
let's watch
Pakistan
Ben
who was
flip out
shot
about
this year, Rashid Rahman, for defending people accused of apostasy.
But Nick,
Yeah, now notice what he just pointed out. It's like he's saying, look at this great guy that we should be supporting, who stood against the people. This guy's killed for trying to defend people from apostasy laws. Okay, where do you get the apostasy laws? Why do you get the people who want to kill people who are opposing the apostasy law? Where's that coming from?
Islam.
How about the more than a billion people
those
who
are
aren't
Muslims
fanatical, who don't punch
Well, I
women,
think
who
that
just want to go to the store,
Wait a second.
sandwiches,
Wait a
pray 5 times a day,
second.
and don't do any of the things that you're saying all Muslims
Okay,
do.
wait.
Stereotyping.
I'm not saying all Muslims.
He's so,
This is so
my
stupid,
goodness.
man. It's so dumb.
But it's the reason this clip blew up all those years ago is this is like so perfect. It's like, guys, this is simple. We have these values that we say we believe in. Islam teaches the opposite. We need to quit defending Islam from criticism. We need to stop doing that. It's not making any sense. We're not helping anyone doing this. And then, you're racist, you're racist, you're racist. That's it. That's like that's what is going on in the culture, right? It's hey, common sense versus ball of emotion that you've been programmed to be enraged about.
Yeah, these guys literally just said there are a lot of problems in the Islamic culture, in the Islamic world. We need to talk about it. We can't just dismiss that as Islamophobic, because these things are concerns that we should be concerned with as liberals. And then this guy's like, what? How about 1 billion people are perfectly fine? They're not radicals. Shut up, man. What a baby. What a baby.
Joshua here says, this Mojab calling out the champion fighter of the Jews / IDF sounds similar to, I don't know, like Goliath calling out Israel's champion warrior. I would pay money to watch Mojab get humbled. Yeah, I don't know what he would, I don't know what he actually said. If he said, hey, I challenge you guys to come up with your fighter to fight me, that was stupid, because you've had in the IDF actual professional MMA fighters, and one of them called him out on it. And there is no way, Muhammad. I mean, even if he's like, here's the thing, I don't think he's that he's a narcissist, but I don't think he really thinks, like, even though this guy's 50 years old, and even though I outweigh him by at least 100 pounds, and I'm almost a foot taller than him, like, you could think every advantage, he has to know he would get destroyed by that guy. And you just have to go, like, back to the early days of UFC and look at what an actual expert in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu does to someone who's even much bigger. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tends to work pretty well against guys. And they even have the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu guys, they have a kind of rule of thumb because, you know, outweighing someone is relevant. Being a massively bigger guy does help. Being a much younger guy does help. And they have a kind of rule of thumb, which is something like for every 10 years older you are, well, if someone is 10 years younger than you, then that's basically the equivalent of a belt level. And if someone, for every certain number of pounds, like every 20 pounds or something, they factor that in as a belt level. The point is, if this guy's an actual MMA fighter level guy, which he is, and a third-degree black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you can take all of Hijab's advantages, and the guy's still going to crush him. He's just going to. There's just a huge difference when you get to the realm of professional fighters, professional MMA fighters, from guys who run around running their mouths all the time. So yeah. he would get humbled. I think he knows that. I don't think he's going to, even with his level of narcissism, I don't think that he'll actually think he can win. And so he's going to back down. No question about it. Going to back down. And we'll play this clip after he backs down. So since we called it. Surah 46:9, Muhammad doesn't know where he's going versus Jesus on John 11:25. He is the direction and the life. You see, David, I've been saying this. Yeah. So that comment is about Surah 46 verse 9, where Muhammad is told to say that he doesn't know what Allah is going to do with him. And if you look at the corresponding hadith, it's talking about salvation. Muhammad is saying, I do not know what Allah is going to do with me. And what situation does that leave everyone in? And compare that with Jesus saying he's the resurrection and the life. Knows too much. Fact, in the mid-1800s, before modern Zionism and before many Muslim Palestinians migrated into the land, Jerusalem's majority population were Jews. I don't know that. Is that, have you heard that?
So to my knowledge, they were not the majority population, but they were a very significant population, and they were. It might be that it was fluctuating, but there was a very significant Jewish population that was like.
So maybe because you did have Jews moving there, and then the Ottomans eventually start trying to bring in other people to offset the numbers. What maybe, and I don't know one way or another, but so you're saying there could have been a time when Jews had the majority there in the 1800s. Interesting. We'd have to check it. Yadhu here says Jews were never kicked out of India. They have lived here for 1400 years with no conflicts, and the Zoroastrians too. And yes, I choose the cow.
Nice.
I think lots of Hindus would say they choose the cow. David, here is some jizya for you. Keep up getting AP to convert Christianity. He already has apostate, so it's 75% of the piety cost. CK3 references. You also have a weak hook on AP for being a disbeliever.
So these are all game references here. That's good.
That's what. See, when I hear you guys making your gamer references, now I know how other people feel when they come on and they don't understand a bunch of references that we're using.
Yeah.
Muslims genocided the Samaritans. Only around 100 left in the early 1900s. Israel secured their protection, saving them from complete annihilation. Interesting. A little more of our hero Ben Affleck destroying the Islamophobes.
Bad things, and you painting the whole group religion with that.
Let's get down to who has the right answer here. 1 billion people, you say. All these billion people don't hold any of these.
1,500,000 or something.
Don't hold these pernicious beliefs.
No.
I wouldn't. Well,
I think he just said so. Bill Maher said, "Okay, 1 billion people," because that's what Ben Affleck's. What about the 1 billion people who don't do this stuff? And then Bill Maher said, "Okay, billion," and then Ben Affleck says 1.5 billion. So he thinks 1.5 billion. As a matter of fact, yeah, I forgot about this. This is where Sam actually points out, they start going into some of the statistics and saying, hey, even though these guys aren't doing jihad and stuff like that, it is very common to have some very illiberal views among the majorities in various countries.
They don't.
That's just not true.
He's going to mention it. He's going to mention it.
That's just not true.
Can I just express how I think it breaks down in terms of
the idea?
You haven't even defined it.
You're trying to say that these few people, that's all the problem is, these few bad apples.
And that has been the biggest problem when, what was it, Obama, when he said, 99.9% of Muslims do not support. And it's something that we had to point out to Rabbi Shmuley, which is, you pointed out, this is the views that you're saying aren't part of us. They're a lot more common than you think.
Yeah.
And they're going to point this out here.
The idea that someone should be killed if they leave the
That's
Islamic...
horrible. That should
Wait. You're saying that the idea that
Islam.
someone should be killed if they leave the Islamic religion is just a few bad apples?
The people who would actually believe and enact that you murder somebody if they leave Islam is not the majority of Muslims at all.
Okay.
One, it's definitely part of Islam. And two, you're about to get schooled on this, Ben.
Yeah.
Let me break this down for you. Okay, we have, as you say, we have 1.5, 1.6 billion Muslims. Now,
second biggest religion in the world, a quarter.
Well, Ben, let me unpack this.
I looked it up on Wikipedia right before the show. Second largest religion in the world. See, don't I sound smart and I know what I'm talking about? You sound
Let me unpack this for you.
Please do. I've been waiting.
We have
luggage been sitting there packed
just
up.
imagine some concentric circles here. You have at the center, you have jihadists. These are people who wake up in the morning wanting to kill apostates, wanting to die trying. They believe in paradise. They
Horrible
believe
bad people
in martyrdom. Outside of them, we have Islamists. These are people who are just as convinced of martyrdom and paradise and wanting to foist their religion on the rest of humanity, but they want to work within the system. They're not going to blow themselves up on a bus. They want to change governments. They want to use democracy against itself. Those two circles arguably are 20% of the Muslim world. Okay.
So concentric circles, 20%.
This is not the
What are you
fringe of the
basing
fringe.
that research on?
A bunch of poll results that we can talk about. So to give you one point of contact, 78% of British Muslims think that the Danish cartoonist should have been prosecuted. 78%. So I'm...
Notice, so Ben pointed out, hey, we've got free speech and that is a value that we share and so on. And so Sam points out, okay, 78% of British Muslims, we're not talking about Pakistan, 78% of British Muslims say, hey, cartoons of Muhammad should be, you should be locked up for that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. So you've got a problem. This is not a fraction of 1%. It's most in the UK. How do you not see that as a problem?
You just said Nazi.
Conservative when I roll this back to 20%. But outside of that circle, you have conservative Muslims who can honestly look at ISIS and say that does not represent us, that we're horrified by that, but they hold views about human rights and about women, about homosexuals that are deeply troubling. So these are not Islamists, they're not jihadists, but
those views are anathema to ours.
But they also keep women and homosexuals immiserated in these cultures, and we have to empower the true reformers in the Muslim world to change it. And lying about the link between doctrine and behavior is not going to do that.
It's just nuts that this would be considered controversial or that this would be something that enrages someone, right? He's stating basic factual information. So, hey, we do have a problem with some very dangerous ideas. And then the response, but most Muslims aren't running around slaughtering people in the name of Allah. So why are you putting them all together, lumping them together in with all these other people? And Sam said, no, it's actually, once you look at some of their ideas, are majority in various populations. So don't act like it's this tiny minority or something like this. It's large populations who have some very, very illiberal views. We need to deal with that. And how is this even controversial? How isn't everyone on this panel here just in complete agreement here? That's the mystery.
Yeah, it's very difficult.
Nanny here says there's a whole sequence about Muhammad's curses with links to AP's video In my Mohammedo-Islamocentric comic strip book, Muhammad and Friends, Haram Alama Ding Dong, volumes 1 through 3. Do you guys want to read it? Yes.
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 Links to your videos. Have you gone through this?
Maybe. I don't know.
Remember, Turks used tunnels in the siege of Vienna. Loved their tunnels. What do you call an atheist charity? A non-profit.
That's true.
My university's socialist club had an event talking about how the Palestinian cause relates to the communist cause and global intifadas. It's wild. Yeah, it is. And it's been pointed out. It's been pointed out. Hey, guys who are cheering for the Palestinians, look at the groups that are on your side. Start asking why they're on your side, because they have very different ideas, and yet they will rally around certain ideas. Choose the cow. Open your leather straps. You got nice homework there, Farfour. It'd be a shame if it got buried in the tunnels you yourself dug. We got this ongoing dispute now between between Mossad and
it's never going to be settled.
And Farfour. Yeah. They're waging war right in the chat. Knows too much said, I support the right of return of Muslim Palestinians back to Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Yemen, Syria, Transjordan, Lebanon, Iraq, Bosnia. So yeah. Why do they want to return to that land that they were put in by the Ottomans? Al Spider-Man's leather strappus of Antioch. U.S. is occupying Alaska from the river to the snow. Alaska froze off my toes.
That's nice.
Chloe says, if you love love and hate, come to Jesus, AP. Chloe seems to care a lot about you, AP.
So do I.
Wait, what is this? Your mod Sarah is about as useful as a broken condom. She refuses to ban the troll Pomy, who is spamming anti-Semitic bile. Who's that?
I would say that Sarah is actually very good.
Yeah, and I tend to favor not banning people unless there's a really good reason. Let me see who Somni is. Pomy. Let me see what. Anyone else think Ben is right? Ben is right. Ben is representing Pomy. Pomy reminds me when I was 11. I don't see any stuff because I'm only going back for a little bit, but I'm going to take your word for it. Wait, guys, let me ask. Has Pomy been spouting anti-Semitic nonsense, as has been claimed? Tell me if that is correct. Because I don't see any, but I can only go back. I don't have all the comments on there. I only have the recent comments. He's saying Ben is right. He's saying Ben is right. But saying Ben is right, as stupid as Ben Affleck is in what he's saying, would not be a bannable offense. People are saying Sarah is the best mod. People are saying Sarah is awesome. That's what I'm saying. He's saying Sarah's got it all wrong. That calls into question. Oh, Ara says ban him. People are saying yes. All right, I'm going to ban him. Goodbye, Pomy. Get another channel, come back and spout your anti-Semitic bile again.
Goodbye.
I'll ban your new channel in your face.
Goodbye.
Let's see. Oops. Super chats. All right. You see. All right, let's watch a little more of this.
Great divide. The Great Divide is not between Islam and the rest. It's rather between the fundamentalists and the moderates in each faith.
Okay, but we're misled to think that the fundamentalists are the fringe. Okay, we have jihadists.
Gosh, notice how he nails it, right? So, hey, yes, you have moderates and you have fundamentalists. And the guy says, you've got that in everywhere, man. You've got that in every religion. Yeah, and we're misled to believe that the fundamentalists are some sort of extreme fringe in Islam. And it's
Yeah, but
not.
that's just something you're saying, man. Like, dude, man. Yeah.
So, good points.
Bye.
Good points. Good points being made here.
Islamists
key
and
point.
conservatives.
And by the way,
it depends
so
hundreds
where-
of millions of
Just to-
people
just
fit that
to say, you're
description.
saying that the strongest voices are coming from those who are jihadists and extremists.
And
that
conservatives,
represents
yes.
a bigger piece
Yes.
of the pie than
Yeah.
we often think is true.
Yeah, notice, my goodness, this guy got it. Like, I don't know what it is about Ben Affleck being enraged about something, but somehow like a mental block goes up and we cannot understand a simple point. This guy at least understood the simple point. Hey, you're saying that this is not an extreme fringe, that it's actually a lot more common. Yes, simple point. And the only follow-up point is, hey, does this stuff go back to what Muhammad actually commanded? Is it actually part of the ideology, or is it just, you know, some weird offshoot or something like that?
Question.
Okay, so having said that, and if even if that is true statistically or otherwise, the key thing to recognize that I don't think is part of the argument, but I think should be, is that there are voices that are oftentimes raised in opposition to these jihadists and to these extreme acts.
Yes.
But guess what? They don't get covered. They don't get exposed. And they're not given the same level of platform.
Yeah, no, that was a fail here.
Yeah, that's totally ridiculous, right? Anytime someone, Islam's a religion of peace and tolerance, they put them all over the news for years after every terrorist attack, after 9/11, after the 7/7 bombings, after every terrorist attack, they would parade all of that. Oh, we don't support that. We don't support that. We don't support that.
You know what? Sometimes I feel this whole thing. You know how sometimes certain people say, you guys, you shouldn't be talking about this. You know, you are no place to talk about this because of your background, culture, skin color, and all of that. I usually find those things ridiculous. But when I see conversations like these, as somebody who experienced Muslim culture on different levels deeply, and who listens to this stuff, to these guys like sitting there and just whitewashing and denying some very basic things that are totally correct about the Muslim world, such as that hating non-Muslims, believing in violence and violent punishments and all of that are very normal and very common things. These are things very common among the regular Muslim. You don't have to go to the jihadists or the Islamists and all of that. But seeing these people, give these speeches makes me think, please shut up, guys. Shut up, guys. Let those people talk who actually know. Stop trying to be these saviors who are like, oh no. We shouldn't talk like that about the Muslims. We should treat them with these baby gloves. The Muslims, they're all very nice people. Then let's not talk about the bad things, regarding Muslims. No. We shan't do that. We have to protect them. This is just so stupid.
It's really, really, really pathetic. Phoenix says, sorry, AP misunderstood. The takia I meant, so this is from earlier, was meant at the Muslim spread, not D-Wood and gang. Lil, keep up the good work, guys. Yeah, we know we're not doing takia.
I'm joking. Yeah. That's usually how I joke.
The cow he chose. Uh-oh. We got some Hebrew there. What does it say, AP? I see 1.6 there. I see 1.6 there.
Just kidding. I can't read that.
I was like, I was about to be impressed there.
Yeah.
I had a Mexican friend named Alvarez in prison, and we'd be out on the weight pile, and I would be pretending to speak Spanish. But he would respond in Spanish, even though I'm just babbling, and he knew I was babbling. But I'd just be sitting there. We're sitting on the weight pile and stuff like this, and I'd go, "Hey, Alvarez, rende para suave," and he would talk back, but he would be saying stuff, and like afterwards, guys were coming up. Wow, David, I didn't know you knew Spanish like that, man.
Man,
that's AP. That's like AP doing his Hebrew. It's the need to virtue signal and hate for Christ. Yeah, that would be. Hey, I know this is off topic, but I'm a corrections officer, and I was hoping that David, given his perspective, might have some advice on how to be a good Christian one without being unnecessarily cruel or unjust. Yeah, that does play a role. There were cool Christian correctional officers when I was locked up. So yeah, and I would I say this all the time, but I would say get a copy of Tactics by Greg Kokel and check that out. That would be very helpful in all kinds of situations, but that would be very useful in a prison context as well. And it's just a good place. Lots of guys who you grow up and you're constantly doing things, and some people they're drug dealers, and it's a very fast-paced life, and all of a sudden they get in a cell and everything slows down and they can actually think about their lives and where their positions have led them and so on. And it's actually a good time for someone to be there and try to help them out. Let's see. Immortal Being, your mods refuse to take down blatant anti-Semitism and misinformation. I get you want free speech, but goes too far when they call for death of Jews. Yeah, ban someone for calling for the death of Jews. What's so hard about that? Stop flipping out, Immortal. I banned the guy. Ben Affleck had too much Viagra. Hey, wait a minute. Mrs. Apostate. Is your wife a mod?
Is she? Is she? Did you make her a mod? I don't know.
Okay, Mrs. Apostate is a mod now. If she wasn't already, I put make her mod.
Fantastic.
I might need to find some more, some additional. Yeah, if someone's going after Sarah, I'm thinking maybe Sarah is the only mod who's there. I should have more mods. But yeah, no, people understand that. I mean, normally I would prefer banning someone, so it would be my call before I ban somebody. But yes, if someone is calling for the death of Jews or something like that, then yeah, that would be a bannable offense. And you might want to give a warning first and tell the person to shut up and don't ever say it again. But use your own judgment.
Yeah.
Oh, Mo talking about Ben Affleck's little rant at the beginning. Did he say we are endowed by our forefathers? Yes, he was trying to quote the Declaration of Independence and did about a good a job as who was it? Was it Biden? I'm trying to think who botched that way back in the day.
Joe Biden did a thing.
Yeah, that's what I mean, Biden. To be fair, I'm kind of like that. I can have something that if I'm just sitting by myself, I've got totally memorized. And if I am trying to spit it one day and I haven't quoted it before with a bunch of people around, yeah, sometimes you get a little jumbled up. But yeah, so the clue there, Ben, would be stop trying to sound smart and quote stuff if you can't actually spit it as it has to be spit. This clip led Dave Rubin to leaving one of the first to be suddenly be labeled conservative despite being married to a man. Oh, you saying that this clip was what sort of set Dave Rubin off and saying, whoa, we got a problem here?
I think I remember Dave Rubin mentioned that. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. That's very interesting. David and Rivan, the Beavis and Butthead of apologetics. Pair character. Let's see. All right, let's watch a little more of this.
That we see the jihadists.
One reason they don't get exposed is because they were afraid to speak out. Because it's the only religion that acts like the mafia that will fucking kill you if you say the wrong thing, draw the wrong picture, or write the wrong book.
So you do have.
That's exactly what I would have wanted to point out. So this guy points out, but there are all these voices that are marginalized and they're calling for change and they don't get enough exposure. And Ben points, yeah, because they'll kill you over that. That's the problem. That's the problem. You can't, what happened? I mean, matter of fact, the guy pointed it out. He's like, oh, I had my friend in Pakistan who's shot because he's advocating. Yeah, you can't even speak out against it because they'll kill you. Do you not? That's part of the problem. That's part of the problem. You don't say, oh, there's this guy and he got killed for speaking out against the apostasy laws. So you see, there are all these voices like, why did he get killed? Why can't he speak out? Why can't he quit? Do you not realize there's a problem there?
Well, it's nature killed him. It was nature. It was the world that killed him. That's what actually happened.
Here, Ben's Declaration of Independence goes out of his way to replace the creator with forefathers. Yet, did he say endowed by forefathers and not endowed by their creator with certain inalienable rights?
That's what I heard too. Huh?
If he said endowed by their forefathers, then he's a moron. I'm going to go back and check it out now. But they're endowed by their forefathers with certain. Joshua here. Joshua says, Bill Maher, humans are not good people. I wish there was a worldview that said, yes, people are bad and need a savior. Also, when people are the highest authority, we make bad decisions. What's higher? Yeah. So, the question is how he's going to get out of that little predicament that he's buried himself in. I don't agree with AP. Does that make me an atheophobe?
Yes.
It is pretty slimy, and I hope that we're eventually going to get past this where anytime you have this, you disagree with somebody, they immediately go to racism, if that's a possibility. I just saw this with there's this billionaire, I guess, stock guy or whatever, who he was complaining about the college presidents. And so he's on Twitter and complaining that he said all these presidents need to be fired, right? So notice, there are 3 college presidents. He says these college presidents need to be fired. And then the article that gets written about him is, because Claudine Gay is black, he wants her ousted. And he's like, wait, the other 2 are white. I said that. How are you?
I saw that too. Yeah,
that's
ridiculous.
Like embarrassingly terrible, guys.
Like just a day before, or the other one was forced to resign, but you are writing about the black one and saying it's because of racism. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah, that's stupid. Now, notice there could be an actual racist who doesn't want a black woman being the president of Harvard. You could have someone who doesn't want her being in that position because the person is an actual racist. But when that's your go-to message in a situation where it doesn't make any sense, because this guy's saying even these white people, they need to be fired too. Because of what? Because of their race? No, because of the horrible things they said. Let's see. I agree with AP. Pre-Islamic paganism has nothing to do with Hinduism. It was an independent religion in its own right. It thrives as Islam, though.
Alhamdulillah. That's very beautifully said. Because it agrees with me. You will be saved from being put to death. Yeah.
If you haven't yet, will you react to some of the anti-Israel people that have been on Timcast? I haven't watched Timcast in a while, so I don't know who's been on there.
I have recently been invited to Tim Pool's.
You should go on there, man.
Other show, not to Timcast, but he has a different show that is something about conflicting ideas. I don't know. It's still being arranged, but I would do that. I would go there.
Yeah, you should totally go on there. Did either of you catch the post saying some leaky water tank was from Zionists stabbing it, or the Egyptian bulldozer video passed off as IDF? No.
I saw that. A video was posted which was actually from 2013, Egypt, and it was posted online on Twitter as look, Israel is driving a bulldozer over a bunch of Palestinian bodies and something like that. It's an old video from Egypt.
Nice. Powerful
stuff.
Ben can't say anything bad or good about slavery. He doesn't have the qualifications. Yeah, notice if you actually took that seriously, that, you can't condemn Islam's apostasy laws or wife beating or something like that. You can't condemn that unless you're a world-renowned scholar on that. It's like, okay, do you really want to live by it? You can't say anything is wrong. You can't say, getting hooked on meth is wrong unless you are a doctor, a medical doctor. A medical doctor.
I'm a medical doctor.
Medical doctor. It's really weird stuff. What is this? David, how much can you bench? I don't know. I've always had problems benching because I've had an elbow injury since I was little.
Making excuses.
Messed up. And I've had shoulder injury. I could probably get you, like, being out of shape, I could probably get you 210 or something like that. So So 210 would be good for a lot of people. For someone my size, that would be pretty light. Especially like I have some like massively strong people in my family. I mentioned before, my grandfather, he set a state record for over 60 bench press. It's probably bench press because this was back in the day, but he was in his 60s and he was still benching 360, which that's pretty good for an old guy.
You see.
CAP D Wood, do you think Muslims will ever change and maybe make their countries more secular? I think even good Muslims are scared to do anything because of fear of being attacked by extremists. Yes, I do believe that you're going to see some changes in Muslim countries. Mainly just because if you get enough apostates, whatever they're going to, whether they're becoming atheists, whether they're becoming Christians, if you get enough, and then you get enough external pressure and so on, you can have governments actually making changes and saying, okay, we can't have the Sharia doesn't work anymore. You have any view on that, AP?
I do think so. Yes. Muslims will have a change and may countries more secular. I think they are already changing.
They have been for a long time. They have been changing for a long time. You basically have a couple possible reactions. You have the reason things suck in our countries is because we haven't been devout enough. We haven't been devout enough, and if we were more devout, then Allah would bless us to prosper and so on. So that's the reaction of places like Afghanistan and so on. And then you have, hey, the reason that we the reason that things aren't working well is we haven't modernized, and you can have efforts to modernize, which by the way, you had in Afghanistan. You had that in Afghanistan. You had that in Iran. Back in the 20th century, you can look at pictures from the 1960s in Afghanistan and Iran and so on. It looked like the West. They were trying to modernize, but there was the other possible reaction, which is maybe it's because we haven't been devout enough. That's why Allah's not blessing us. So you have the places like Afghanistan who are going to go more radical and try it. You have Iran, which they tried it with the Iranian Revolution. You see how that's working, but it looks like those places are going to crumble. Those places are going to crumble, and so I think you will get the opposite. Okay, we just need to modernize.
Yeah,
David, you can have all the black powder arms you want. Yeah, there are certain things you can even have. They even have like really powerful, like CO2 powered stuff that will actually just completely knock someone over. They have high power projectiles that I could get. But I don't know. I'm pretty happy with these here. Matter of fact, I'll tell you. If it's 3 or 4 on one and they come with like knives and not with guns, I'm gonna win. I'm gonna win that. I'm gonna win that with these. That's how I roll. Try it. You don't believe it. And bring your GoPros, guys. Bring your GoPros, jihadis, because you're gonna get embarrassed, and I want that footage. You need to stop eating Quran pages. Think about all the STDs Muhammad scientifically, miraculously encoded on those pages. Yeah, probably. Yep. Gross stuff. Yeah. Have you heard about the Antichrist being a Muslim? Yeah, been hearing about that for a long time. And there are people who actually study this stuff who make those arguments. In other words, there are people who study end times a lot and make that claim. Funny how you guys got a million good ideas every live, but you never do anything except those lives. That's right. We do. We'll sit here and, hey, that would be a good idea for a video. Yeah, that would be a good idea for a video. No, this would be a good idea for a video. And then, yeah. Oh, these are comments from earlier when we were talking about guns. Many great CO2 yeah, that's what I just mentioned. Gun options. Yeah. Yeah, I've seen them. You can actually get pistols that shoot like, pretty high power stuff that will apparently just knock a person over, and can even get ones that are loaded with like tear gas and stuff like that. So after it knocks them over, it makes them cry. But again, I can do that with my fists. There once was a man named Muhammed. His hygiene was closer to a pig. His semen stained down, gave an Aisha a frown, but he didn't care. What the heck gave more? What's this pervert talking about? Hey guys, I know some of you come over from AP's channel, but
of course that's the problem.
Chloe says, off topic, AP, have you used Rememtron plugin for GPT-4? It gives GPT a memory between conversations. Now GPT remembers everything we have talked about. Clever.
Oh, really? That's actually that's very useful. I have been thinking it would be very nice if it could actually remember who I am and what I just said. I didn't try that. I will check it out. It's very nice.
AP D Wood, what do you think of Deerborn, Michigan? It's my home away from home. It is slowly becoming jihad capital of the U.S. You guys should certainly not go there. Not safe. I mean, think you mean safe anymore?
I want to go there right now.
Yeah, I don't know if you've been following. Like, I don't know what you're familiar with, Sid, but yeah, I got locked up there with my friend Nabil. In like 2009 or something like that, 2009, 2010. But Nabil's standing there answering questions of Muslims who gathered around, and police come and lock us up. They toss us in jail. And the guy didn't tell me this, but he told Nabil and he told our other friend Paul, the guy who was taking our mug shots, right? So he's taking our mug shots. I didn't talk to him. But Nabil and our friend Paul talked to the guy separately. They both said he said the same thing. And it got brought up in the lawsuit later, and the guy denied it. But he said, as he's taking the mug shots, he's talking to Nabil, and later on he's talking to Paul. But the guy's taking the mug shots, the officer's taking the mug shots. He's talking to Nabil and Paul, and hey, why are you guys doing this? Blah, 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 blah. And they're like, what are you talking about, man? We're not allowed to talk. We're not allowed to talk about Jesus without you guys throwing us in jail. They said the guy said, you don't have to tell me how messed up things are here. He said, I've gone into houses where a girl has been beheaded by her parents and it's never in the news and no one ever knows about it. Guy said he's been to homes where girls have been beheaded by their families and no one ever finds out about it. So this got brought up and he denied it. So I never said that. It's like, wait a minute. You told two guys that. They both told me that. I trust them. But I understand why you would later deny it. It's creepy stuff. So yeah, pretty messed up.
Pretty bad.
From the river to the sea, Judea must be free. All right, let's go and wrap
it. There's a reason why Ayaan Hirsi Ali needs bodyguards 24/7.
You do have that element of fear as well, but you also have other braver souls out there who do speak out and who
who are risking their lives to do that.
Like the Muslim clerics and others from Australia to Europe to the United States just recently publicly put their names on paper declaring their opposition to what ISIS and So there are those voices, but where was the coverage? Where was that story to sort of create a different picture?
What is your solution? What is your ask?
Let's talk about those few people who speak out against it. Let's not focus on the bad that actually dominates the Islamic world. Let's just talk about those who speak out against that. Yeah, how about that? Let's be nice.
And then Ben starts babbling. What's your solution? So what's your solution? What's your solution? And it's like, I mean, step one would be acknowledging that there's a problem here, Ben.
Yeah.
That's kind of foundational. One, two, stop defending it. Stop calling everyone racist for pointing out the problems in the Muslim world. Just stop all that nonsense. That's kind of step one. It's kind of step one. And by the way, AP, you are wrong. Jews were a majority of Jerusalem population since before Zionism. In your face. We'd have to see some statistics, though.
Alhamdulillah.
From South India, we will be killed or jailed if we speak against Islam or Muhammad. It happens regularly. Love you, D Wood and AP. Really? In South India?
There are certain regions where that's more dangerous. Yeah,
because we're familiar with northern India. We were saying even in South India, there's some problem areas, and India's like that with Christians. I'll hear because you will have an area where things are bad for Christians in India, and you'll have other areas where Christians are going, what are you talking about? We don't have any problems here. So yeah, things can change a lot based on region. Is it wrong to ask non-believers to try the lesser key?
India has a problem. This is why it's like it's always a problem when you talk about India and how Muslims act there and how safe it is to discuss Islam and all of that stuff. But India also has a India has been consistently listed as one of the least safe countries for certain Christian groups or Christian people.
Yeah, they're
So
always
that
pretty
has
high.
been a
They're
lot
always
of-
pretty high up there. And when I brought that up to Christians in India, and I've just got totally different reactions. I've had Christians in India say, "David, why are you complaining so much about Islam when we're persecuted here?" And I've had other Christians in India saying, "What are you talking about? I've never once had a problem in my entire life with anyone persecuting me here in India." So yeah, things do seem to vary by region. What is this? Is it wrong to ask non-believers to try the lesser key of Solomon to summon demons to get possessed to make them aware of the spirit world? Yeah, I wouldn't want people to get possessed to make them aware of the spirit world. But yeah, I'm not familiar with that
I would.
lesser key of Solomon. Yeah.
I would.
All right, everyone, we're going to pray for AP to get demon possessed so that he recognizes there's a spirit world.
Inshallah.
No, we're not really going to do that. Do not learn what sarcasm is. But yeah, I don't know about that. Justin says specific. I'm thinking of Scott Horton, Timcast. So have you heard of Scott Horton? AP? I think this is talking about the people
Don't know.
that he was saying he'd like us to react to.
I don't know. I don't even know what it is. Never heard of
Timcast?
that person. Nope.
Sid Dave, what do you think of Muhammad Ali, Malcolm X, and some African Americans converting to Islam and it is considered trendy? Are they not aware of what Arab Muslims did to black people in Trans-Saharan trade? No, I've talked about that a bunch of times in the past. But I mean, if you go back to like the 1960s when it was becoming popular to convert to Islam, the African American community, I mean, think about this. Bukhari hadn't even wasn't available in English. Sahih Muslim wasn't available in English. And this allowed Muslim preachers to make up anything they wanted about Islam to win converts because no one was in a position to correct them and show them sources and so on. Yeah, I was once talking to a woman after this was a little outside of Baltimore, but I was speaking at a church there for a conference. And a woman came up to me afterwards and said, "Hey, I was a Christian. My husband was a Muslim whose parents converted back in the 60s." And she goes, "I was using your stuff and Nabil's stuff, and he left Islam and he's a Christian now." And then he comes up to me, but he still looked like a Muslim. So he had converted recently, and this guy walks up to me and he goes, "Hey, man," he goes, "Hey, thanks." He goes, this is funny. He said, once he found out that the reasons his parents converted to Islam were all bogus, that, Islam liberates the slaves and so on. He said he wanted to tell his brother because he and his brother had been raised to believe that Islam is this great solution to all these problems and so on. And he said once he left Islam and became a Christian, he said, "I have to tell my brother." And his wife said, "Whatever you do, don't send him any David Wood videos. He's just going to enrage him at this point." And he said, "No, I have to." And he said, "I sent him your video, Muhammad, the white prophet with black slaves." Right? He says, "I sent him that." And he said his brother called him that night and said, "I just left Islam."
Oh,
and
wow.
That's a cool situation where if your entire confidence in Islam is based on a lie and that lie gets exposed, you can see normally it takes a long time for someone to leave Islam, but there are some people who their entire confidence is based on like one thing. It could be a similar situation if someone's entire confidence in Islam were based on like the perfect preservation of the Quran. You just show that it's nonsense. And it's like, well, that was the only reason to be a Muslim, and now it's gone. But yeah, it's ignorance of Islam is what Muslim preachers will use to spread Islam. They'll go whatever you value. If you do not know about Islam, they will say Islam is what gives you that, and it's total nonsense. And so the solution is to get people to know some basic information about Islam. I'm giddy for you to enjoy my cartoons, which contain about 70 links to both of your videos and many others. How do I get you both a link to the ebook? Already tried emailing.
Do it again. I'll check it out.
Yeah, do it again. And Chloe here says we should be wrapping this up. We're going long. I don't know if we can finish getting through everything.
Why is Chloe saying we should be wrapping this up?
I said that. You guys, especially AP, need to watch The Gospel of John, the Christopher Plummer movie on YouTube. It's word for word. I love Jesus cleansing the temple. Very well done. Christopher Plummer. I know there's the Gospel of John movie. I don't know. Is that Christopher Plummer? Is that the guy? I'm trying to think. Yeah, I'd have to see that. Salmonville's number one mistake, not quoting Islamic text. That is an issue, right?
Yeah.
Notice. So they're giving statistics to refute the claim that this is some weird fringe. But yes, would have been very helpful to just say, hey, Muhammad said, if anyone leaves his Islamic religion, kill him. Do you have a problem with that? Muhammad says right here that if your wife gets out of line, you could beat her into submission. Do you have a problem with that? That would have been helpful. J-Lo left him because she gets it. She's from the block. Wait, aren't they back together now? I thought they got back together or something. My bun jihad is resisting the urge to do the Farfour dance 20 times a day.
I do it all the time.
The Farfour dance now? Yeah, I've seen you do it.
I do it several times a day. Like,
yeah, you only have to do it when someone you love is dying. That's when you do the Farfour dance.
Yeah. I always do it when somebody dies.
And from Mrs. Apostate, we have the Israeli-Palestinian conflict reminds me of what Muhammad said, Jesus said, first take the leather strap out of your own anus, and then you'll see clearly to take the leather strap out of your neighbor's anus. Yeah, I've pointed that out on Twitter, some of the interesting quotes you get.
You pointed out the difference between what Jesus would say and what Muhammad would say, right?
Oh, now we got the mod comments. My name is Sean said, put me a mod. How do I know? I don't trust lots of people. Like I feel like if I have like 20 moderators and they're just going to start banning everyone, I'm not going to know who's doing it or something. Does it tell you who banned who?
No, I don't.
Make a Farfour a mod, you weakling. I will be better than Sarah. Farfour. Never watched that Batman movie where Ben plays the character. Shows you how good an actor he is. God bless your work, David Wood and AP.
You know what's funny? I've never seen any Batman movie.
What?
I haven't watched a single one of them.
You never saw the Dark Knight or any of that?
No, never.
Off topic, I got the voice of Jesus from The Chosen using AI to speak Jesus quotes from the NAS Bible. So from The Chosen, still haven't seen that. From the NASB, but I gotta figure out how to use this. I've never done anything with the chat stuff, the AI stuff. I gotta figure that stuff out. Why is anyone taking advice from an actor? They're actors and trained to lie. Yeah, that is a problem. I've been watching you both for 2 years now. Great work, AP. You've come a long way. Your knowledge on so many subjects is truly formidable. Yes, that's true. How do you know so much stuff? Let's see. My first super chat ever. My first super chat ever. I'm a professional illustrator with a wicked knack for editorial and tons of Muhammad ideas, but don't dare out for fear of my family. Well, you don't need to publish your name and stuff. He chose Mr. L. Moo. That's the cow he chose. Moo. When the age of apostasy strikes Islam, will all the current top Dawa guys be marked for failing and causing the downfall? I think they will. In other words, I think they're doing more damage. I think they're destroying it from within. It's just a question of, are any of them doing so deliberately, or are they all just really this dumb? Fastest growing religion in Iran. I think it is Christianity. I would love to put my leather straps on either of you being on Tim whatever channel. Oh, I mean, apparently AP is invited, so yeah, that would be awesome. I will be watching. You know what? We'll be watching. Did you guys see okay, so cool. We're through the super chats here. Did you guys see the Harvard-Harris poll results?
I saw it, yeah.
What is that? What's that talking about?
I was reading them earlier. Well, first off, the first quarter or so is about general political stuff, but then most of it, when it gets to the point, is about the Israel-Hamas war and thoughts on anti-Semitism and all of that. And they chose American individuals randomly and weighted them to get a proper picture of the average American opinion. And it looks like the polls, the results are pretty good overall in general, such as that the majority of Americans still say October 7 is a terrorist. It was a terrorist attack. Hamas is a terrorist organization. We support Israel's right to defend itself, and so on. But the thing is, what is puzzling, what is shocking, which is why some news sites reported on it, is that there is one final question. I don't know if it's the last question or second to last, but there is a question like, what do you think is the solution to the Israel-Hamas war or the Israel-Palestine conflict? And then there are three choices. One of them is to have two states, Palestine and Israel, side by side. The other is that the Arab nations should just absorb the Palestinian territories. And then the other option, the third option, is end Israel and give it all back to Hamas and Palestine. And that was chosen by 51% of respondents.
Gosh.
Which doesn't make sense.
That's freaking nuts.
Which doesn't... Okay, no. Wait. That was chosen by 51% of respondents between the ages of 18 and 24. Okay, that's what was done. So it was, again, the young population that is stupid.
Shocker.
They chose it, 51%. But the thing is, it doesn't really... That response doesn't make sense when you look at the rest of the survey, because overall they seem to be quite reasonable.
Yeah, I'd have to check that out. That does seem at odds with the rest of the stuff.
Yeah, and it also says give back to Hamas and Palestine, which is a stupid suggestion because there is no giving back. It was never part of that.
I can guess the answer here, but AP, as an atheist, do you believe in demons?
I am a demon. No, I don't. No.
Could have guessed that. Yeah, I mean, in theory, you could be an atheist who rejects the existence of God and still believe in demons, but those beliefs normally go out together.
Yeah.
Let's see. When you mod someone and they do something, it tells you what the mod does. What?
Oh, that's cool.
Chloe here says it's not GPT. Oh, talking about the AI voice. It's not GPT. It's AI voice copy or Jesus from Chosen.
Oh, yeah.
And finally, Carlo here says, AP, have you seen the video where Ali Dawa tells Israel advocacy he doesn't belong in Britain and to go back to Israel? Did he say that to someone? Did he say, hey, go? Did he tell the guy to go back to Israel? That would be funny.
Did he actually say that? That's because that's like a very big endorsement for Zionism from Ali Dawa.
Yeah. Okay. So I need a place I can go back to. Thank you very much, Ali Dawa. That would be worthy of a response. That would be funny. Yeah, we'll have to check that out.
That sounds like something Ali Dawa would say because he's stupid. He can't think through the things that he actually says. Yeah.
And here, finding Chloe says, the Chosen diverts a bit from Jesus' true words. That's why I took the actor's voice and put it to AI so he can read Jesus' actual words from the NASB. Yeah, again, I still haven't seen The Chosen. We're planning on watching it someday. Maybe we'll post a reaction video or something to that.
I watched 2 seasons of it. I haven't watched the third yet, but I think it's very good as a non-Christian, I have to say. It would be nice to see your reaction to that, actually.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind it. Yeah, I just I saw too many crap Christian movies over the years. Maybe not want to watch some of the Christian stuff that comes out.
I would never sit down and watch a regular mainstream Christian movie. Okay, but that show is
you'll do it.
That show is it's very good. It's outstanding. It's not like regular religious stuff. It's very well done.
I will check it out at some point. Probably binge watch it with a Muslim and an atheist, and then do a reaction video. That'd be cool. Okay. All right, we've been going almost 4 hours here.
Really?
Yes. We somehow managed to get through all the super chats. I was thinking, we should just cut these off. But yeah, I don't think we need to finish up this video. It's just Ben Affleck whining a bit, trying to think if they said anything else that's relevant. I don't think there is. So I think we will. What is this? Please have a stream with Myth Vision. We did a couple of years ago. We were on after the Bart Ehrman, Mike Licona debate. Myth Vision. Yeah, if Myth Vision comes up with a cool topic for us to discuss, yeah, we could have a discussion about that.
Myth Vision is good. Yeah. Yes.
He's also very handsome, so we'll get lots more ladies watching.
Interesting. Yeah.
All right, everyone. Well, we've been through it. Takeaway: there are some people who actually have some common sense. Some people have some common sense on all sides, and so even the liberals have their Bill Maher occasionally. You sit back and wonder what in the name of common sense. We're talking about, hey, demons. I mean, AP. There comes a point where you have to start wondering. This is so easy to understand that people not getting it. It's got to be demonic, something. There's got to be some demonic influence here going on, because it's just pretty messed up. Farfor says distraction plus mod me, weakling. Yeah, I'm going to make a guy who dances when his grandfather's dying. I'm going to make him a moderator. Yeah, good idea. All right, everyone. So we've heard from everyone, and any final thoughts, AP?
Well, I would say there is one thing that people often say or ask in response to all of the stuff that is happening in the world, and that is like, so what is your solution? And my solution is simple: stay away from Islam.
Yeah, and I think we can sum up everything that's happened, everything we've discussed, with a song.
Ain't gonna follow no child molester, sex offender, prophet pretender. Ain't gonna follow no child molester.
Islam's not for me.
Ben.
Islam's not for me.
Ben Affleck.
Islam's
Not for me.
So stop defending it, Ben.